Wait, hold up. Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
FNTASIA, welcome, my friends. How is it going? It's a new season. It's a new time to be alive, and it's Fortnite times in the business. I'm not sure where I'm going with this intro, but Levin, Bala, welcome back. Being on a show together once again. Beforehand, you know, we were taking a few shots at all's expense, but I think the price was right, Levin. I think we kind of, you know, ran true. Everything looked good.
Nah.
Well, yeah, you know, like for the people who clicked on the YouTube thumbnail thinking, oh, finally Levin's gone. I'm here, baby. How do you like that? But last week, while I'm not here, you know, somebody had to fill that role. You know what I mean? And I think we shared that responsibility well, Shia. So
to somebody who's off the podcast, who's celebrating the wonderful baby that I'm about to have, you guys just fucking roasted me constantly. I don't think I deserve that shit. Why there's so many elbow takes? I like that term though. Elbow takes is pretty good, so I'm gonna bring that back.
That might have to be something that you brand yourself. And,
I'm gonna get elbow take on every single one of my show. Well, I got an elbow take, boys.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's some random shit. Congrats on the baby, by the way.
Thank you.
Obviously, we couldn't do that when we were roasting you, so take it easy there.
Shia did, so it's kind of fucked up.
Oh, I'm not in the loop, guys. Damn. Got it.
Unfortunate. Unlucky, bro.
Unlucky.
There we toss it up. So, new season for Fort. You know, we got patch notes, which is cool. So we can check those out real quick for season 7. It looks kind of nice.
Patch notes?
You know, it's been a while since we got to check. Yeah, patch notes, man. Looking at how things rolled down.
This gimmick completely failed.
Man,
I was not ready.
But when you need a good old Windows background before there it goes. It rolls in. Season 7 is here. We got planes flying in the sky. It's snow season. Oh wait. Oh yo, my bad.
Wrong season.
Notes.
Yeah.
Wrong chapter. You know what I'm saying? Zeke, little infectious. Can't decide whether we're in the future, in the past. We gotta talk about patches verbally. All right. Let's break it down. When it comes to season 7, it's like the whole alien type of season, and UFOs, one of the big things that were literally coming right off the docket and looked like one of the scariest things, like on the patch in the game in existence. I mean, they're not in anymore, but you know, the fact that everyone got to experience them still when it comes to UFOs are uncomp anymore. I feel like, you know, we're not fully in maximum efficiency mode when it comes to rocking a new season.
Yeah, I feel like this is an item. This is a vehicle that they knew because of experience with helicopters, with planes, with mechs, that it would just not fly in the actual competitive game. I think they knew that for sure, so they were ready to do it, to remove it like 3 days later. I was scared the first couple of days of the season when I saw this, because I was on my baby moon. I saw it on Twitter. I was like, oh, there's UFOs in the game? Yeah, fuck this shit. I'm not looking at anything else for a little while. I was scared that the nerf that they were going to do was, let's reduce the chance that they spawn like they did with mechs. Let's make it so only one spawns in the game or whatever. And I'm just like, oh no, it's still going to be here. Oh no, Mongrel's going to get griefed in the middle of but yeah, I'm glad they removed it. I'm sad that they like even thought that this would be possible. Maybe.
Well, didn't we know that they were gonna like everything? Because this is like a pub thing, right? Like, I don't know how the pub community feels about stuff like that. I'm guessing they're fine with it. So UFO is a pub thing. I think we should have always just assumed it wasn't gonna be in comp. And so, like, even though, like, I wasn't a fan of it because it is pretty broken. Like, some of the strats you can pull out with it are, like, insane. You can even use it as, like, a, you know, like the OG planes, like, ramming people with the planes, that you could use it like that if you, like, picked up a car and, like, rammed it. Like, it was silly. But I just always assumed it wouldn't be in comp, and so I'm hoping it stays that way. So I wasn't too, like, scared about it. Some of the other things, maybe I'm a bit scared about, like, you know, the UAV online and whatnot, but I think UFOs for me, I was always like, nah, I don't think that's gonna stay.
Yeah, I think I had the pleasure of just, like, you know, doing some tests for some future things, and we rolled up some customs on this season. All I saw, every single fight, every single box, every single moment of the game were these scanners, man. And railguns are a new thing that are part of this season as well. And we've already had one kind of sifting turn with these kind of like, you know, vaults coming through. The UFO didn't make it. I would assume this railgun and the scanners, you know, wouldn't make it past this filter as well, but they're still in the game. Other two big additions to the season in general. The railgun, obviously, it's like it's the heavy sniper on crack, and then the scanners literally are free walls, like you know, like a Sova dart that never stops. Like it's absolutely insane. And you can see Benji here using it if you're watching on video. It's just like this is still in the game after the first round of vaults. Like that just makes no sense to me.
This is so broken. I mean, I've watched this clip so many times already, and it's just insane how you can shoot a railgun. It breaks fully built metal walls, by the way, so you could, like, no matter what, you're gonna get value out of this thing. It does damage 170 if you fully charge it to the head. Instant. It's hit scan, by the way. It's not projectile. It's fully hit scan. It's just insane. I don't know what they were thinking here. And I hope that it's not part, like, I hope that it is part of the, oh, we probably know this is way, way, way too much, and we're gonna take it out eventually. But god damn.
Yeah, this is insane. Like, this is one of those things where you just assume it can't stay. Like, it cannot stay by any means. It gets worse. It's not even full built metal. Like, I sent a clip, if you can bring it up. It goes for anything. Like, you can literally, like, eliminate people underground with it. Like, it is not real. Like, it's literally not real. I've never seen anything like it. It's hacks. You know, when you pair it with the UAV online, it's literally just hacks. So, yeah.
Let's see this clip.
For me, that's where it's like, you know, people asking, no matter what you're doing on stream or everywhere. Wait a minute, there's no shot.
Wait, where are they?
Bro,
they're underneath Cordy Complex.
Like, yeah, like they're in like a bunker underneath, and it's like
that is wild.
Yeah.
No, this is the reason why, like, you know, when people are asking how do you like the new season and whatnot, I don't think the new season started yet. You know, like, this is not, like, this is clearly not competitive, so to speak. Like,
well, you know,
like, I'm still waiting for, like, you know, not preseason to end, but like for the actual competitive stuff to start, because there's no way people are going to be playing in this, playing cups, playing all-stars. I just don't believe this gun can stay in the game for that, or at least this combo. Like, neither belong.
Well, yeah. The weird thing about it is that, like, from speaking to players about their thoughts in the season, genuinely outside of like these three things, where it's UFO, railgun, UAV online, nobody, like, people are really positive. Like, people are saying, I'm hearing people say, yeah, this is the most fun I've had in ages. And of course, you always get that with any new season anyway, to some degree, but there seems to be a lot of positivity around the season. And so if we were able to have started without these three things, which seem like very obvious things to not have, plus like the arena point reset, I feel like, you know, vibes would be even higher than I think they already are. So
yeah,
like you said, Shai, I think that's a good thing. I'm hoping the arena point reset comes with those things being removed, and so we get that. Now it's the new season.
All right, question. Do you think that I know there's more things to come on the patch notes that we're gonna have on FNTASIA, but do you genuinely think that without railgun, without scanner, that most people would be saying, "Oh, I'm having fun"? Because I think that they wouldn't, because there's no tournaments right now.
Yeah, I mean, was it that?
Or I don't know. It depends, because from an EU perspective, EU is really fun right now. EU has the best prac we've had in ages. Like, it's really good. So people are just enjoying like scrimming and improving at the game. So I think, yeah, because of like the practice we have right now in EU. But in a general sense, you're right. Possibly, maybe not as much.
Yeah, because I feel like everybody's enjoying abusing the shit out of a railgun and scanner. Like, I think that most times when you're having fun in Fortnite and arena and pubs and whatever, and all the content creators and pros, they're having fun when they're just stomping on people with broken shit. Like, I don't know how many people were having hella fun at the beginning of season 3 with Caddy Launcher, like just fucking Caddy launchering at people with the fucking kits whatever charged shotgun that's insane. Like,
I had fun doing that shit.
exactly. Like that. Those are when it's the most broken and the most imbalanced, where you can abuse the shit out of stuff to have fun. That is where people enjoy Fortnite outside of tournaments. So like, anyways, I just think that the railgun is the reason why this season is fun for a lot of people. So it does get to the interesting point where, yeah, it's broken as hell, but are they just gonna fine tune it? Are they just gonna like balance it, or is this shit staying, or what? Because where's the scale? Where I'm scared. I'm scared.
I feel like I'm still, waiting for the whole preseason, whatever the heck it is, like for these guys to decide how the season looks
Yeah.
to end. Because every time it just feels like a waste of like a week or 2 weeks in terms of like actually trying to learn that new season. And yeah, this is fun. I think it was like a Colosso tweet where, he was talking about the fact where it's like, the more casual something, like every time you're enjoying stuff more, like you're talking about, Balo, like off tournament, it's when this type of stuff is around, right? But when this type of stuff is around, tournaments actually end up not being the best to play, and tournaments are the most fun that these guys have in general. So the off season is so sketchy, especially when a new season drops. I think one of the reasons Levin is also saying that, a lot of people are happy is because the most horrible stuff from last season, like makeshifts, completely gone. Like crafting's kind of more revamped and more structured around like, how you want to play your game out, like how I thought crafting would be, rather than just being like a new mechanic in the game that you're also trying to work around the RNG with. Like, you like playing a bony type playstyle where you like guns that spam more, but you're landing places like lazy. Or you want to play the mechanical side, but you're going coral, right? Like, the issue with crafting in the past, I feel like, is that it wasn't as malleable as it's supposed to be. But then rolling into this now, this new crafting, Bala, you were telling me before, it's kind of like you're just side grading weapons more so than looking to go for specific upgrades.
Yeah. So I still don't know where you get the nuts and bolts, by the way.
You get them from like little red crates that are, like the bigger ammo crates. They look like that, but like they're red.
Oh, okay.
You get them from that, and I think you can get them off the floor.
You must be able to get them off the floor or something, and obviously I think people drop them too when you kill them. Because I didn't find those boxes or anything like that, and I still had enough to side grade like an AR to an AUG, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, it's mostly side grading, not really crafting anything crazy. Still cool though, because it gives you that option, and everybody has access to the nuts and bolts. It's not like, well, maybe, who knows? Maybe they only put the fucking crates in certain POIs, and it's the whole thing again, right? But yeah, I think the crafting was cool. I think removing makeshifts, bro, is so good. The problem with makeshifts is not, well, people are going to take this out of context, but to be honest, I think the problem with makeshifts is that it made so much imbalance in the early game where people could land on non-makeshift stuff and you could land on makeshift stuff that is so much weaker that it's just not fun, right? The RNG of early game is just not fun. If everybody had makeshifts off spawn for sure, 100% of the time, it still probably would not have been as fun because just using the makeshift weapons kind of sucks, but at least it would have been balanced, and you're not going against a purple pump with a fucking common, like a white makeshift shotgun. Like, that was the biggest problem. So I'm happy that that's not a thing anymore.
Well, like, based off of all the new changes, there's ways to get like guaranteed purple pumps in like a minute record time. Look at the map right now as well. It's one of the reasons that I feel like this entire drop is kind of polarizing for the community as well. It's the one thing that I was looking for the night things dropped, and the number one thing that I saw on Twitter that disappointed a lot of people who were looking forward to the season, me included. It's just the way the map has changed from last to this season.
What do you mean? You don't like purple splotches on the map?
Who doesn't?
I love purple splotches.
There's some differences, like, Spire's gone, and like the most confusing thing to me is like changing the name of like old POIs, but like not changing the POIs at all. Like Sweaty Sands
What are you talking
is now
about?
Believer Beach.
No, what are you talking about?
Like,
There's just a new POI, like Corning Complex. This is a new POI.
oh, yeah.
What are you talking about?
You know,
Believer Beach.
because you're
Honestly, this
talking
gives
about
me
player
kind of
history
like
is what we
Paradise
mean.
Palms vibes. It's really cool. Like it has a
Oh
hotel and
yeah, it's
stuff.
kind of like
Okay,
moisty mire kind of with the sand.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like with the
exactly. Like
trees,
I
kind of.
kind of like it.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, and then what about that one? Corny Complex. Kind of reminds me of the Anarchy Acres a little bit, you know?
Yeah, it's got
Defend the fields.
the fucking like the alliteration. It's pretty cool. Like Fatal Fields. Yeah, exactly.
You guys on to something here, I'll be honest. Of course, we all finished last season, and the general consensus to some degree was we need more spots on the map. We got so accustomed in chapter 1 to season having massive change ups in POIs, and weirdly enough, I don't think that's one of the things that people really dislike. I don't think people have a problem with that per se.
Unless you're a liquid.
Of course, unless you are directly affected by it, which is just a Fortnite classic anyway. Like you only care about the stuff that directly affects you. So to come into this season and not see many changes, to be fair, from what like leakers and whatnot are saying, like there's going to be changes over the course of the season. But even then, I don't know how drastic it's going to be. Like obviously this middle of the map bit, you expect that to become something at some point. You know, those leaks about Grotto, those leaks about Coral changing over the course of the season. So, you know, there's potential.
Okay. To be clear, leaks versus like actual like content or something showing something, I think is different. Because leaks, in my mind, is actually kind of like a little bit, because the whole thing with Grotto, right, is that in the season trailer, Grotto was shown, like the skull was shown with no water inside. So people are assuming that Grotto's going to come back at some point in the season, but those videos have lied to us in the past, like hardcore. Whereas leaks that
she was
say
inside the grotto though.
Huh?
She traveled inside the skull. She was like vibing, walking around. Like
I'm sure they have a cinematic build they can do whatever the hell they want with, you know.
No, but even then though, like I get what you're saying because that is true. But even then, with that one, it's a bit like, come on, like, come on, because if that's the case, like, you know, I think they're better off if they're trying to do that to like build hype or whatever it is. Like, why not just put us in like chapter 1 scenes? Like, put me in like flipping Tilted Towers. Like, put me. Well, they actually did in the trailer. Tilted Towers was actually the trailer, to be fair. But like, put me in one of like the OG. Like, put me in Sunny Sands or whatever the hell it was called. I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah,
but you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like put me in something that was just specifically chapter 1. Lazy Link, like put me somewhere there. If you're gonna like try tease me and it's not actually accurate, like don't put me on somewhere where
I'm
like,
just
the grotto where we actually want something.
Yeah. We've wanted the grotto back for so long. The fact that they filled it with water and it's still there has always made me like, okay, it's probably gonna come back at some point. But it's been like how many seasons has it been? 5 seasons. Yeah. 5 seasons. The grotto's been gone.
Yeah. Four seasons.
Fourth seasons. Yeah. Four. If you count this season, it would be 5. Yeah. Okay. That's. It's been filled with water for 4 seasons. Like, holy.
That water is musty, bro. That water is not safe anymore, innit?
Yeah, that's crazy. So anyways, there might be other leaks about stuff. Like you said something about Coral. I didn't see that one.
That's the biggest one. Like,
it's
gonna get destroyed. That's where the big UFO in the sky is gonna like land or whatever.
Let's.
My thing is just like I've kind of had a philosophy when it comes to the map in both like chapter 1 and chapter 2. Like chapter 1, it just felt like the map was more so like as Levin was saying, right? They added over time. Every season there was a big change, and it culminated, and you felt that like kind of community atmosphere. You could expect like a change to get added, and then just to build onto it over and over and over again. Yeah, it screwed people over sometimes, but it was a very addition type of based map. Whereas in this chapter, like everything we have to look forward to is always in the beginning of the season. Like the major changes we want, like, hey, want a new POI that's not gonna overtake another or change something and bring something old back. Like we want a new fresh change. It'll happen in the beginning. It's like a change-based season. When it doesn't happen, we're not gonna get any changes, right? The additions we get for for Fortnite Chapter 2 is like, you know, random statues around the map that don't really affect POIs. They buff them here and there. They don't change the flow of the entire game. They don't add new flavor. So after looking at this drop, like,
You talk about Coral
cool, the
Castle
spire's
didn't
gone.
change the flow of the game for you, bro? When they added
Nah,
it
man,
during solo
unfortunately,
FNCS?
it gave me a good impression farm with Kinzel, right? When I figured out the dude got opposite zones. That's the only thing Coral's ever given me in my life. That and like all the friends that I have paying contesting there against each other. 6 different teams, I think, like chapter 4 or season 4 makes no sense. Get out of Coral, contest lazy or something. But like, you know, there's just no change on the map. I don't think there's going to be, other than, you know, maybe 1 or 2 spots being buffed. And that's why I feel like people get more depressed every new season. When you look at the start of the season and what, like last time, you know, Spire, it's orange in the middle. That's cool. Stark was kind of cool. Dropping in, that changed kind of the name of the game, but it was just that, right? And then a few buff spots. The desert came in. Past that, like nothing happened after the desert. Like, no.
Yeah, I don't think they really like, you know, biomes isn't really like a big thing. I feel like in this, in the way it was in chapter 1, that caused excitement. Even like what they do environmentally around the map, like, you know, things like Kevin, right? That like stuff like that, you know, it gives people like, I don't know, you know, things like the actual general movement around the map, like things like, what are they called again?
The
Things you can
island,
fly around,
there's the
and
geysers.
not the geysers, yeah, things like that, right? Like, I don't know, there's just not been, I feel like there's just not much with the season.
It's not, that's just personal ability, man. If I showed you an 8th zone, right, in on this map, there's certain zones I can show you where you have no idea where the hell you were. You could not tell the difference between certain things, right? Like, just look at Boney to Corny, right, to like a gas station. Anywhere in between there, you could maybe figure out what's going on, right? You look at Holly from a different angle, you get Pleasant Park vibes. And you know, on the first games of the day, sometimes when we have wides coming in from suspect out of pocket angles, I'm like, yo, Pleasant Park, why is Fremont here? I mean, Ollie Hedges, good POI. You know what I mean? Like, there's not enough flavor, I feel like, and difference. Meanwhile, you look at the tilted to salty to shifty comparison, same distance, even closer in chapter 1. You could figure out what an endgame looked like and felt like every single time. I know people are saying it doesn't matter if there's POIs that land down, just want, like, you know, good loot overall on the map. I would disagree with that. I would say that you want these POIs, you want certain themes, so that, you know, while people are moving around, you get the different flavors of the game. While the game progresses, you know, you get to identify with those flavors as well, and like everything becomes more fun to watch, to experience for the players, and to hype up about, because you'll have like different POIs to land at. Like right now we have towns, like and what else? Steamy stacks,
Mountains, rivers, and valleys.
like, yeah,
Yeah. I
before we
feel you.
had,
I feel you on that
yeah,
point.
like,
I didn't before, but I'm starting to feel that hardcore, because like the only memorable zones or anything is like the Misty Mountains and Steamy Stack.
yeah.
Other than that, it all feels the same. I feel like we have less zones going through POIs than ever. Have we ever seen like a game that actually goes back through Retail Row in the end game?
Oh, that was a thing that I remember people talking about a couple seasons ago, where it definitely feels like they made a change where you just, obviously we don't know, so this is all speculation, but it does feel that way. Like, I feel like I never have zones going back through POIs when casting and whatnot.
It feels like very, very, very unlikely. Like I've had Sweaty Sands end games, and I remember there's a Lazy Lake end game in DreamHack Anaheim, but like the ones that actually go, it's like Fifth Zone is maybe still covering some of it, but it always pulls out and it never goes like through the, or maybe we're just at such an advanced portion of the game that everything is just destroyed anyways that you don't notice. But I don't think that's the case.
I mean, like, sometimes.
Remember Doom's Domain? Did you ever see a zone go through the hangar?
Like the actual main, or the hangar?
Yeah.
Well,
that would have been like the most.
Andy listeners gonna remember, but
well,
I don't remember.
I mean, you know, anyways, game 6, it went back and forth through Stealthy Stronghold. There's
I remember some stealthy games. I remember some stealthy games.
Yeah.
I remember when we had Colossal Coliseum, I remember some zones. There were quite a few Colossal Coliseum zones. I remember, and that was still in the game.
All right, so maybe it's just my tinfoil hat.
No,
Like,
no, because even then, outside of those specific
Bring them
POIs, like I don't have recollection of like they still exist. We're not saying they don't exist because they still exist because I remember
I
a
think
couple
they're
craggy
just
zones when I
more
go, but it
rare
doesn't
because,
feel,
bro,
yeah.
every time in chapter 1, every single like game, I was like, oh shit, like this is a soccer field game, this is a tilted game, you know,
yeah.
this is a loot late game. Like everything was very, very obvious and unique. Every single end game, it just felt like sometimes it'd be repetitive, but it'd be the same one that I had just played that I can like call out. This one, you're right. You have a corny complex zone. It's just gonna go through a river at some point. It's gonna go over a valley. Like there's gonna be a slight elevation change, but other than that, you can have that same thing go all around the map, all around the map. It is kind of resident sleeper.
The other argument was kind of like you know, when it comes to like having enough loot for people all around the map, like is that a good thing entirely? Like, do you want 33 people basically having their own spots? And for me, it's like I think it's better if you have enough loot for majority of people with different POIs, and you know, let them farm off rip and then move after the fact. It becomes less about, you know, a crazy spawn fight between 31st and 33rd place, or hey, is Benji fighting again? And it kind of advances the thinking of the community to like, hey, what does a good off spawn look like? Are these guys looting efficiently? You know, are loadouts building up in enough time? It kind of advances the general mind, and it makes the game stage so much better rather than just watching lazy every game because mans are shooting there, right? So I feel like it's a win-win for everyone across the board if you support the map, if you like just get it built up slightly a bit more diverse or along the entire island on all sides. I feel like all we ever have is like the most interesting things in the corners that can't be accessed. When they are, it's a grief fest. Everything in the middle just stays the same. So it's, you know,
that's one of those things where it's like I do get that there does seem to be quite a lot of interesting things on this map, but they always are just spread around the outside. And like one thing from like recently looking back at like World Cup and, you know, chapter 1 stuff, it always felt, especially like during that season where you had ballers, where there was so many little places and little points of interest where you can loot up and you can do things. So it was much more viable for players to, you know, you do land that pleasant, but if you dip, there's still like a very viable loot path, you know, like, whereas this season, it doesn't feel like that. But I don't think that's not just because there's not as much, but it's just because where the positioning of where those things are, do you know what I mean? I feel like it's a bit more awkward.
I just miss like the specificity, right? Like even back in chapter 2 or in season 2 of chapter 2, like people going for the nose of the shark, right? Like way back in Sunny Steps, controlling one of the sides made you the strong team at the POI. It feels like sometimes, even in one of my most favorite, you know, POIs, Misty, it's just like a general fight. Like you loot up, go for high position, you fight. Like lazy, yeah, you have the middle building, have a little bit of control, but then, you know, just a common fight breaks out on whoever just has stronger loot and the advantage. Like there's no specific thing, no like, you know, POI centric type of fight.
I think that's unfair. Like
available.
Kragi has positions of strength. Sweaty has like some interesting things.
POIs, I think all POIs will naturally always have that, you know, like that's the nature of people who are analysts and coaches and whatnot. You figure out those things in the POIs. Like those things definitely do exist in this season, in this chapter. I think the reason why this is a conversation really is that you notice these kind of things in solos, right, where there are just way more entities trying to loot things up. And obviously where we have the solo showdown and everyone's playing solos at the moment, it's like that's like a big
actually I feel like this is the opposite. I feel like you don't notice it in solos as much because solos is just so much more easy to be self-sufficient in. You literally need, like, sure, you still need the 6 and 7 chests or whatever per person, but in trios, like if you don't, like, you're trying to absolve so much more space that it's hard to split up the map a little bit. Well, it's not hard. I think it's easier, but in solos, it's like more irrelevant people are getting fucked than, you know. I don't remember at all having this conversation back in Solo Invitational or Solo FNCS, like at all.
I don't agree, because when you have For me, it's as simple as when you have like trios, right? Like you have all these parties. The way in which, like, in terms of pathing, because you have like a set three people who are moving together, the way you have in terms of understanding pathing and where other people are, it's way less complicated in the sense of
Yeah, I agree
you're
with
not
that.
worrying about everything, right? Like you're not worrying about certain places because you just have an understanding of they're all
I
going to
agree
move
with
this
that.
way together. Whereas
That wasn't my
solos,
point. That wasn't my point. My point was that we're talking about this because Trio FNCS just had many issues with how much loot there was on the map. Not because we're looking at the solo FNCS drop spot maps and being like, what the fuck is happening?
well, the reason people are looking at the map because of trios is just because of pure congestion. So it's
Yes.
not even like a matter of, no, because I'm more talking about like just loot and how it's spread out around the map. I
Yes.
think congestion in itself is a different issue. I think congestion in itself, you need to more look at the actual bigger POIs that you have and where you position them rather than just like general small pieces of loot all around the map. Whereas I feel like with like the way loot is spread out, like that's more of a solo issue. I think actual just big POIs that are viable for a whole team to sort of be able to loot and whatnot, that is the main issue when you have, you know, trios and whatnot. I think there is room for them to add more big POIs, like, you know, Hunter's Haven. If you had something positioned there, that's maybe a bit better, right? Obviously, I don't know what they're doing to spy that area.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of open space to add, like
yeah,
literally whole POIs if they want to, but I don't think that, like, I don't think you need that in trios. And we maybe had this discussion, or Shai, you kind of alluded to this whole thing already, where it's like, you know, do you need POIs or not? Like, I think if you did what you want for solos, it would fix the issues in trios as well, because people are going to go for cami splits. People are going to go for splits that involve all the different little tiny little things that give you extra loot. As long as there's enough
yeah.
loot, like, it'll still solve the problem that you're talking about in trios. Yeah, maybe POIs will naturally attract more, or, you know, an entire trio or whatever, but
I think another aspect of it is like just mid-game movement, right? Like, what do you have available to you? Like, I use the World Cup example. The reason why it was so good in World Cup was you had ballers to move around, and so like you were so free moving around them. I'm not saying in general ballers are good, but I'm just saying in terms of that specific thing, like you could just feel so free to move around. Like you could loot lake and head down towards shifty shafts and feel comfortable. You didn't feel necessarily like at crazy risk. Whereas in this, you know, what are those items? Obviously, you have vehicles, right? And like a lot of it is to do with that mid-game movement, what you have available to you there. I feel like in terms of how you can split and how comfortable you feel split in certain areas of the map.
No, they're all connected, right? Like I think Bala before when we were talking about the map as well, the entire idea was like, you know, the one thing that hasn't changed over so long, especially with this map, is the positional type gameplay that ends up happening.
yes.
Right? Way back in chapter 1, because we had the bio switch, because, you know, Moisture America got replaced with the whole desert, we had Polar Peak introduced, the entire northern side got leveled to Lazy Lake, suddenly there's a volcano, suddenly, you know, there's a jungle. Like things like Zate Hill don't survive that, right? Things like Retail Rose, big mountains don't survive that. Things change, but right now, everyone, no matter what you introduce, whatever gimmick it is, that random base you can see from the left of Dirty Docks, or a small little spire thing in the middle of the map, or a guardian tower, people are moving the same way and getting to the same spaces to play position on the map for 7 seasons the exact same way. So it's like what Levin's idea of, you know, and this is why I disagree with you, Ball, on this one, and I feel like introducing POIs matter.
I want POIs, but I'm just saying I'm just talking about like the whole concept of, like, the reason we're talking about map issues is because like that's where I was like trying to disagree a little bit.
True.
No, yeah, I agree with you. And the reason I'm talking about map issues is because of trios and lack of POIs and whatnot, like the general.
But if you introduce more POIs, right, all around the map, right next to each other as well, so you're linking left and right, it makes people rotate the map in a different way, slower, sifting through these places, and at the same time allows for, you know, these positions not to be the same every single time.
The only time we've actually had different positional play was season 3 when there was water across the entire map, right? It was literally sinking many of the big positions. And then season 4 was Stark. Stark had the massive island, and that only changed it for one portion of the map. Like, other than that, we've played the exact same positional games the entire time. It's go center mountains, go top hotel, go right here, go bridge, go Zate Hill, go on top of the mountains, rotate dead side around the mountains. Like, all this shit is always the same. Always.
it's funny to me because you talk about Fortnite and it's like we always talk about how they stumbled into like the best mechanic in any game ever with building, right? And they didn't realize how the small things they did, like things like turbo building, would just develop and advance it. And similar thing with Storm Surge, right? They had Storm Surge because they just want less people alive, right? Like they want people to fight, but they don't realize the level of tactical depth they add in terms of pathing and Storm Surge routes and all these things in terms of positioning. And so also it's like, I don't necessarily feel like they understand how they can massively affect it by making some of these changes, right? Like you change certain elevations, you even like the raw amount of like even actual POIs affect these things, right? If a certain POI next to Pleasant or Sweaty, for example, right, is just shocking, that affects the team Sweaty in terms of how they do Surge, and like there's so much that goes into it, but it hasn't changed much over the past couple seasons. I feel like if anything is going to be a constant change in Fortnite, that should be one of them in terms of the best teams that are going to be the ones who understand that better, and so they learn and adapt. And like I feel like that's a good skill gap to have, right? Like in this game, beyond just the mechanics, right? Like tactically understanding, surge positioning, these kind of things. But where it's just not changed much in certain areas of the map, it can get jarring in that sense. It can definitely get jarring.
To be clear, they're never going to change the map specifically so that surge routes are like
no, 100%. And I don't expect them to. But it's just like it's a thing that is affected by it.
That's one perspective we're missing, is like how the map actually plays from an overall perspective in like for the average person who's loading into a game. I don't want to talk about that, to be honest. I think everything that we've discussed will probably be good for them too, but at the same time it's like maybe not, maybe they have some reason why they're, I don't know. Anyways,
hey, I mean the one takeaway from it is that Levin leaked like a new POI. He was talking about Sweaty. I mean, I don't see it on this map. I'm not sure what POI that is, but let's talk about on the map. We could jump over to the next topic, but in the middle, in the depths, one cool thing Bala mentioned was the way that things are balanced around certain aspects of the game. What do the new players think? And this is definitely like a top 1% issue. One of the things that also kind of got reintroduced to this season, we didn't get to talk about it in terms of items, is a sniper rifle. Want to have a chance for a conversation on that, guys, in terms of your guys' thoughts. What are your takes of the sniper being back in? What does the game kind of look like? How are the ways to balance it in terms of like operating through? Is it balanceable? What's up with the sniper?
Yeah, dude, there was a bow already, right? So it's not like we didn't have a snipe anyways. We didn't have a long range one shot weapon. But dude, I think at this point everybody understands. Like nobody can have the take like snipers are bad for the game, because yes, competitively they might be bad for the game. For the top 1%, they're definitely like probably not ideal. Just on a like competitive integrity type basis, you're not gonna be like getting sniped off spawn or getting sniped randomly by somebody you didn't even know existed in a solo game, and you just die and you have no chance to recover. It's like really, really bad. But it's so obvious that content creators want snipers because they make really exciting moments. It's so obvious that the regular person is like really into sniping. There are literal people who play video games, shooter games, specifically so they can pick up a sniper rifle and try to get kills that way. It's so obvious that it draws people to games, and the fact that you don't have a sniper probably actually turns off people to games. To me, that's clear.
You can't change the weapon at all, and like the reason I was bringing up the different ways to balance things, because like in League specifically, it kind of reminds me of this issue. It's like the way they balance things depends around like and the reasoning they give is who it affects actually for their game. Like this is a top 1% issue, so it'd be like the challenger level, the pro play level of effects. The majority of patch changes that happen are around the average skill level, the bronze to gold, and that's who love using the sniper. That's that's the people who get majority affected if you try to change it for the top 1% and damage or whatever. So if you're thinking about like a top 1% change, the way I would approach changing the sniper that could be realistic is having it like crate only, right, all the way towards the very end. an Apex Legends beat where like, you know, it sucks that a sniper will one shot. It's competitively not integral in a sense, but it's like it's going to be there because of the average player that's playing, because of the below average player. So you cater to them by keeping that in, but you can still patch change it for comp by, you know, if you hear a sniper go off and you know it's on one side, you know there can only be a few in the game because of the crates, you're gonna be chilling them. You can just react and put it to that side. It's not the fact that the sniper does damage that's like the biggest issue in comp, is that it's surprising and you don't know where it comes from. So I feel like that change would be sick. And like it's kind of approachable. At the same time, like airdrops are a dope way to change like a lot of the stuff they could be adding for the game, whether it's scanners, whether it's whatever power weapon. I feel like that's a very dope way to edit things for the top 1% and have that as like a gameplay not gimmick, but like a gameplay feature
Mechanic.
that kind of, you know, mechanic, yeah, that changes the flow of the game.
That'd be lit.
But at the same time, it's like up to them to see what they can do.
That'd be lit. I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea. To be honest, they did it for RPGs, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did we decide that the RPG crate was like good enough that you wanted to go for it in comp, or was it just kind of like happenstance?
Yeah.
Like you just got it
was-
if it landed on you type of situation.
It was like if you're on the other side of the map from it, you're not thinking, can we maybe sneak it or get it? Like it's just like if it's in your radius, go take it because you could get an RPG. Like you have a high chance of getting an RPG or whatever.
Mhm.
And that was always something that I wanted. Like I remember always saying like make things like supply drops important in that sense, because you know if you make it so you can only get a heavy assault rifle from a supply drop, you can only get RPG from it. People fight for it, and it, you know, maybe makes things interesting.
Launch
it
pad
never
meta?
sort of, yeah, like it never sort of paid off in the way that I would have hoped it to. And so for that reason, although I do still think it's a good idea, I feel like I'm starting to get with this. Like a lot of stuff in Fortnite. Like I remember I had this similar take to Arena like a couple weeks ago on the pod, but I was like, snipers are just snipers, and it is what it is now at this stage. Like I'm not too, you know what I mean? Like it's maybe it's a bit sad that like I'm almost like defeatist in that sense, but it's like I'm just not too bothered. I accept them for it is. Do you know what I mean? There are some cool sort of concepts and ideas that happen with snipers at the highest level. Like I remember watching Savage, and like if there's teams like shooting at him from like a high elevation on the mountain or something, they're trying to rotate. You won't even like shoot at them. Like he'll just like shoot the sniper, and they hit the sniper so they close. Right? Like cool concepts like that where it's like there's like some sort of play there where you're doing something that is interesting with it. But at the end of the day, just being able to be 200 sniped from someone not even in your field of view is just, it's pain, and it's pain that just will continue to be a part of PR.
It sucks that it's literally came back right as solo starts again, because snipers and trios, like, yeah, sure, it sucks, whatever, but at least there's some recoverable aspect, right? You're not just full dead instantly. But yeah.
No, there's like a self-res mechanic in solos that'd be sick, but
yeah, I am pretty frustrated that they just bring it back with no change. I don't know if there's like changes behind the tank, behind the hood or whatever, where it's like damage adjustments, but like those things are obviously not like, unless you change it so it doesn't one shot. Like who really cares? Like
yeah,
there's not even a projectile change.
One shot.
There's not even a fucking like anything change.
They made it easier to snipe when they made the projectile like the heavy sniper.
Yeah, they made all the projectiles like the heavy sniper, and then
yeah,
that was the last real sniper change we've had.
And everybody was just like, well, I think at the time people complained, but it's like, I'm surprised people don't like be like, why don't you change it back to where it was before? Because at least back then it was a bit more difficult, right?
Yeah,
like,
all the snipers had a different projectile.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like you had different projectiles there, like, you know, maxing the ammo like they did with RPG, like, you know, you get a sniper, you get maximum 5 shots of it, and you put it away, like that's it. I don't know. There's things you can
make
do.
it take that 2 slots. Like
Yeah,
we've been pushing that shit
like,
forever.
So long,
Two slot snipers. Yeah, like there's so much things that you could do that they have done in the game already in the past with the RPG, with like the bandy cannon with the 2 slot thing. Like there's stuff that they can do. I'm so sad that they did bandy cannon. It was a 2 slot thing. It was a success in my eyes. We never saw any multiple slot items ever again in the history of ever again.
Yeah, I mean, slurp cannon's there, you know.
Oh, well, Same thing
Slip cannon.
essentially, but just it's the same like thing basically. But yeah, no, sure makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe, man, there's still time. So
Why do people
Everyone's
not
also-
fight over supply drops though? Like, we brought that up, but like,
Yeah.
why is it not good to like? Why is it just whatever happenstance? I get a drop or not? Like, okay, I don't really care that
Because
this guy's
supply
got a
drops
drop.
the only because in terms of the weapon upgrade, especially for the past couple seasons where a lot of good teams and players anyway had good loot, like you could upgrade, you could farm gold and get good loot. So the weapon upgrade you're not too bothered about, and so if you already have good shields, you don't care, because most of the time, especially in competitive play, you're looking for the supply drop because it's like, oh crap, we're shambles, I need shield. Like it's rarely ever like, oh, supply drop, maybe I could get a scar. Like no, like you're like, let me get a big pot, let me get some minis, let me get some chug slashes, right? And maybe this will sort of lead us into like the new llamas, right? But like maybe this becomes a thing that people, it's weird because you can't see llamas on the map, which is the difficulty, because they've buffed llamas now. They are so like you might as well not bother with supply drops anymore. Like llamas are so OP that it's like if they just took out supply drops and made llamas appear on the map, I feel like you could actually get what we've always wanted from supply drops, where it's a thing you fight for. Because llamas are just like being like you can get like 5 big pots from like a llama. Like that's like silly.
It's not trackable that you've picked up a supply drop. Like my issue with the entire supply drop thing, and to also answer Bala's question in a second, is that it's never noticeable that you actually picked up the drop. Like it just still looks like you just have a very good, powerful loadout. It's not unique. That's why having drop only weapons is it should be the wave. Like stuff you can only get in there. It shouldn't just be we need shields. It should be we can change the way we play our game if we take a risk, take a detour, and get this public thing that multiple people should be looking for.
Yeah.
A
question: if they added storm scouts, like if they added storm scouts to the fucking loot pool of drops, like past like 4th zone, thoughts?
I mean, that'd be nuts.
Like what shit like that?
They
like,
drop 2. Yeah, like if you guaranteed know what you're getting out of it. The biggest issue with supply drops is that you don't know what you're getting out of it. Sometimes, and the worst thing about it is like, purple pistol.
You can get
purple P90. We don't need a purple P90. Yeah, you don't need a purple P90 from the 3rd to 5th zone. You don't need a med kit there, bro. I'm looking for the biggest beams. Give me a gold AR. Give
no
me a
mats.
Gold pump.
There's no mats, by the way. So like, it's not even a refresh or anything like that. Yeah, like it's not fine tuned to be for that. It's not fine tuned to be incentivized enough unless you're just like roaming around in pubs. It's like, oh, a supply drop. Oh, finally get a scar, baby. Like, no, it's not fine tuned. Like, there's not enough like health in it, shields in it. There's not enough like actually good items in it that you care about, and there's not enough mats in it to make it worthwhile. If you did those things, I think people would be way more interested in it, and I think it would actually change how people play around it. But still, even then,
well, like to answer your question then, right, it's like, a supply drop comes down. The reason people don't fight for it, we talked about Fortnite and building and the way it changes positions. It changes supply drops as well. In other games, if the supply drop's coming down, you can't shoot it out. You have to wait. Everyone knows about it. There's ample time for people to set up, counter flank, counter strat the way you have your setup up. In Fortnite, it comes under your builds, box.
Yeah. What if they set the area before the supply drop comes down? Like they like mark that general area red, so a supply drop at some point is gonna be in this red location and it's gonna come down, and then you also can't shoot it down, like you said. Like maybe like that gives people more time from different places in the map to be like, okay, wait. Plus, if it has like the exclusive shit, like if it had minigun in it, minigun, heavy sniper, RPG, like that's the pool. Like those are the 3 things you can get.
Nah,
I'm going for that.
I like pools. I like pools.
But pools, dude. I just want something timed. Like from zone 1 to 3, you can expect to find a sniper rifle. From zone 3 to 5, you can get a storm scout.
Sure.
And from if you get it, past that, nothing spawns, right? But like, just editing within that time frame where you actually can pick up loot, just have that specific thing. So once again, I'll mention Apex Legends. They have a spammable sniper. It's called a triple take. Listen,
it's called a railgun.
No, it's a triple take. So in the early game, if you get a supply drop, it doesn't have any of the OP ass weapons. It has strong weapons that spam a lot. They have their own ammo count that runs out, right? that sniper is really good for taking trades and fights. In the end game, you end up finding a supply drop. You know exactly what you want out of it. You're either getting the best shotgun in the game. Imagine getting a gold pump guaranteed, or you're getting the Kraber, which is the only one-shot sniper that's available inside that game. So everyone loves fighting over those things. They're the most, like, you know, a supply drop comes down and it actually changes the way you calm with your squad. Like, shit, guys, on the right, there's a drop. I think a team got it. They got a Kraber. We got to play towards the left. We got to watch out. Like, you know, like, and people want to go for it. They'll throw their game to go for it. So having that in Fort would be sick. Imagine getting a heavy sniper, like, from a drop guaranteed past, like, the 4th zone. Like, the riskiest spots to end up shaking things up. And then, you know, if it's the issue with drops is, like, they come down and they're free for people to pick up.
Yeah.
I have it so that drops aren't openable for the first 30 seconds they drop down in, so people can contest them. You know, maybe there's a radius around the drop where you can't build, but can't build gimmicks.
Two in town? I don't know about this with Shia.
Cowboy zones, you just turn into dead dude again. You have a duel.
Keeps, man. You gotta play for keeps. Like,
Shia, I was rocking with you there until you said the no build gimmick.
I mean, what other mechanics are there to keep things, like, safe and secured? Like, where you can just have an isolated fight.
What if
Borderlands, man?
No.
Shifting your prop
okay,
hunt.
look, all these fucking always when there's this idea of a no build thing. To me, I turn the opposite way. Let's fucking crank up the builds so that we're full on Fortnite, full on box fight. What if you you open the crate, 30 seconds, everybody knows, but it opens a shield bubble around you. And everybody starts, like, 30 seconds comes and everybody starts box fighting inside the shield bubble so that they can fight over the crate isolated. It just makes it like 3v3 happen instantly.
That's lit. There was an idea for, like, Warzone and other things. Is, like, the worst thing that people have, or the worst thing to have in a BR is third partying, right? So people wanted in Warzone to, like, agree if you start taking shots at a team, like, you get, like, a dome down that basically if anyone wants to fight you, they have to push that dome. It's like a shield bubble, basically, right?
Yeah.
Kids are stressed about third partying. So this type of idea has been suggested in all games. I literally forgot that there is a shield bubble mechanic inside Fort, and we saw it for the back half of season 9, and then it's gone.
No,
like,
they remember the events, the season 2 event at the agency, bro. We got all our powers, bro. I had the shield bubble. It was me, you, and Levin.
I remember.
I had the shield bubble. I was chilling. Nobody was killing me. It was great.
Yeah, I remember that.
They could definitely use that. Now you have an isolated box fight, which is going to be sick to watch because you know exactly what people are fighting for. You have stakes around the thing, and you have a set time limit. So whoever it lands on is now, you know, choosing: do we give up our base? Do we want to play defense on this? How far are we going to go?
And you're isolated from the risk elements of fighting, right? Where the risk elements are fucking like, oh, somebody's going to RPG us in this zone. We can't do it. Like, oh, we're going to get sniped while we're box fighting, or just spammed out from the entire server. Like, all that shit is isolated a little bit too. I don't know. Cool idea. Probably never going to happen.
Gulag type fights are nice, man. They're nice. What else is nice is getting the best players out of every single region and setting them up to fight in their own gulags of editing fast and building fast and shooting fast. FNTASIA All-Stars, baby, let's freaking go. I didn't realize that they literally announced this last year almost, like
at some point last year,
January or something.
No,
yeah, like
maybe since January. I think it was like when they announced that we'd have Trio FNTASIA the entire time.
Yeah, they said there'd be a mid-season tournament. Then
yeah,
this is
true, and this is it. If you've seen that first section as well, they're teaming up with Blast.
Boggers.
Which is
yeah, that's really sick. That's really sick. Blast is my favorite esports production right now. Like last year was LEC. I was all about the LEC, League of Legends, like European Championship. I was all about it. They were fucking dope. They're still dope and still probably the best. But Blast has quickly become like my second favorite, which is like holy, because it's also a game I understand in CS:GO. I mean, they do a bunch of different. They did Valorant. They did a Dota 2 event, I think. But Yeah. So it's a game I understand, and the broadcast is sick. The production is insane. I'm really excited to have Blast as a partner here in Fortnite, and also it means to me that like these TOs and outside organizations are still like kind of interested in getting involved. I don't know how obviously the deal went or whatever, but I think this is fucking cool as hell, and people should be excited about it. When they read this line, they're probably like, "Okay, I don't know what the hell that means." And most people are they see the news, it's like Fortnite teams up with Blast, and they're like, well, they see like a headline, they're like, I still don't know what that means. They're like, "Oh, it's a production company." Okay, cool. But I think
Yeah.
if you actually like just listen to me, it's pretty fucking cool, and I hope that it is going to be actually Blast level production in Fortnite.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
because their CS
if
events are sick.
if you guys are like watching the timeline, like you know, the Blast head like head of product was like rolling in talking about the talent that were involved. Was like kind of like a sneak peek. We were in rehearsals earlier this morning, checking stuff out. There's definitely some cool stuff coming up for Invitational, so definitely excited as to what's going down. If this is like an FNTASIA sneak peek of, you know, yo, casting Invitational, man, hello, like it's cool, but like yeah, it's gonna be a definite dope and different time. So definitely excited to see how it all gets
Why are
executed
you
on the
acting
day
like you
of.
didn't make a tweet like
No, I
Blast
made a
is
tweet right
insane,
after. No,
bro?
I made a tweet right after, but I'm
Well,
like, wait
yeah,
a
but you're
minute.
making it sound like
Hey,
Bro, I'm still
yeah, I
trying to
have
be
let,
cryptic, man, because like you know,
no
man's gonna
idea
be on my front
whatsoever.
door after I mentioned, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Reese made a tweet like the All-Stars are going to be a blast. I'm like flipping out these guys, man. All of these guys. You, Reese, a lot of you. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all
no,
of you.
it's they literally tweeted at us and they're like, yo,
No, yeah.
enjoying, you know, rolling with the talent for this. And oh, I guess for it now, so like, you know, just talking, I'm sending this shit.
I didn't realize that actually.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you guys know. Just kidding. No,
We're chilling,
it's
man.
gonna
We're
be sick.
chilling.
It's gonna be
Chilling,
a
bro.
sick event.
We mentioned
Honestly,
it. We're chilling. We're
honestly.
you guys
talking
are
around.
you guys
Having
are
fun.
fucking you took a fucking knife right now to my heart. Like this entire rest of the episode, I'm just gonna be depressed. Just depression. It's just like fucking turning. Like Jesus, man.
Listen,
Don't worry about
Don't be
that.
depressed, Bella. Be hyped. The hype
I'm
dates are
hype. I'm
coming from
hype.
June
I'm hype.
11th
I'm hype.
to June 13th,
I'm just
right?
crying a little bit.
Deep down.
Wait,
Don't worry.
before we move on from Blast, one thing that I think they stand out with is when they do their remote productions, they're still in studios. It's like typical esports, like they actually have CS:GO at least. They still have most of the time
Yeah.
talent in studio, but the players are playing from a remote location. Usually it's from like their team house or whatever, their team facilities. But one thing that Blast does really well is actually integrating like cams from the facilities of the players, which I don't think they'll be able to do here, and I don't think that we'll have that same thing because, well, honestly, maybe they might because we've actually known like a third of who's going to be playing in All-Star Showdowns for a whole 2 seasons now.
Wow. Yeah.
I
So
actually
maybe.
don't think we have. They
Why
haven't
not?
decided exactly because if I'm looking at when this was announced and how it was announced and this whole entire banning thing that happened, it was way too late. Like if they knew certain people were going to be involved and whatnot, um, this announcement wouldn't have come out this late
Oh, you think
specifically.
that they were tweaking the criteria up until the last second?
Yeah, and I'm not even sure when Blast started getting involved in terms of like when they're gonna, you know, TO entirely. Just based off like this is not based off of background information, but just based off when all these announcements started to come out.
Yeah, maybe.
Like you know, we're gonna mention it in hype days, but like or the next section of All Stars. All Stars usually have a very big lead up to it, right? And lots of community involvement, and there's time that's taken for votes, for ramp ups with content. You're setting up regions versus regions and whatnot. I mean, obviously Fortnite's doing it their own way, but it just seems like once again, you know, in classic Fortnite fashion for these one-off events, it's happening slightly late. You know what I mean? Like, it's coming in just at the line, and we're now just getting the info, and the competition's happening in a few weeks for this. But for this event, it should have been there and happening a long time ago. The build-up, but I'd specifically.
I have insight for that though. By the way, it's because of the way Fortnite works and how seasons are going and stuff. Like they don't want to like announce things way ahead of time because they don't necessarily know when certain things are going to happen inside of the seasons. You know.
Okay.
Like when there's gonna be a new POI added, when they're ready to run competitive, when the preseason's over, when blah 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 blah. You know, all of that is important to them that they try to time around. So that's why they don't announce stuff beforehand, because the dates could change, the dates could shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Or Shire's pissy now. I will tell you guys full background info. This is gonna be a sick event, so you better watch it.
Levin, you
That's
literally just did exactly what Reese and Shio did on
same
Twitter.
thing.
You just did exactly.
I know.
You just called them pussies for it.
No, I didn't call them pussies for it. We have to flip an audio recording. You can go back and listen. But my point was that, you know, I had enough of these guys. My point with Shio was that he was acting on the pod like he had no clue when he had already made the tweet. That's my point. Like, you just said it on Twitter, Shio. Say it here. Flip it out.
I did.
You were like, oh, no background information.
I literally said hi. I'm casting it. I waved. We have video proof. You're talking about audio proof.
But you didn't say anything about it. You
in
said
4K. But at the same time, I'm keeping it cryptic.
Bala. Make sure, yeah, you teach your kids to not be like the Shire guy, an absolute wally.
That would be the greatest thing possible.
I was thinking of calling them Shio Wager. So
that's the business. That's the business.
That would be a grave mistake. Hi, I'm casting versus this event is mad. Like, I'll be honest, guys, that's different.
Okay.
Anyway,
but I said that
anyways.
Anyway,
I don't think, Levin, you realize that
bro,
by the way, people who watch the podcast aren't necessarily on Shio's Twitter all the time. So it's like he could act however the fuck he wants. Anyways, let's fucking move on. This is so stupid.
The bottom line
Levin,
is meet me in LA. Boxing.
All right, go hype days.
All right, so hype days. So we're checking out hype days.
Let's put you guys up.
This is like what? This
time out.
This is just man's like rolling in, and like the creators are just doing their thing, and like, I guess running these islands or running like similar type beats for the community to try out, like officially, so people can be involved. Quotation marks. Like, I never really understood what these.
What's happening then? 11th was
June
yesterday.
11th to 13th, you're basically watching your creators around the globe.
Oh, is that what the Amar
they're
one
opening up
was?
the festivities, but like, isn't this usually like?
No, I don't think that's what the Amar was.
The idea for this is to build hype for the event. Isn't the hype for the event built up by getting people literally involved by voting? Doing other stuff.
Wait. Shouldn't have. Was Amar one? Because that was June 11th. Like, wait,
that's what I'm saying.
How is there not? I haven't seen anything about a hype day thing. Hype day Fortnite.
I mean, his thing is literally called Amar's Sonal Invitational Hype Cup. And it's green.
Yeah, so Amar was one, yeah.
Oh.
So Amar's cup was a way to build hype for FNTASIA. I wasn't able to watch Amar cup.
The other one.
So they just gave them money,
as well? Yeah.
And then
Graph G Hype Cup, $10,000.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch Amar, so I don't know if they did much promo. Like, I'm assuming Amar would have been like, guys, FNTASIA, I can't do a German accent and I can't speak German, but guys, FNTASIA All-Stars coming up, let's do a solo cup to get hype and get excited for it, but I'm assuming that's all that is. But
okay. Yeah. So what, FN Comp is not even pushing it?
Really?
Yeah, there's not.
I mean, it's not bragging rights, guys. Let's,
I'm genuinely even more confused now. I'm more confused now. I thought that hype cups were gonna be like including like Nikkei 30 and like just like anybody, and just like they were pushing the shit out of it. Like, oh, we're getting hyped for this. Let's run some creative stuff. Let's run some creative modes. I thought that's what it's gonna be, because I always thought that that's how they do. But I guess they're just running tournaments. But they're so disconnected that I don't even. Yes.
Yeah, because
not getting me hyped, bro.
But I get that, because the Mars Solo Invitationals are Mars Solo Invitational. This is something that he's been doing. Like,
he's done it every season, week after week.
But like this time, the sponsor and the graphics are just Solo Invitational.
Yeah, and honestly, in a vacuum outside of Fortnite, like genuinely in terms of like real world marketing stuff, like I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, you attach something like this to an event that's already established and big, Like, typically, I feel like that's fine. It just, I don't know. It doesn't feel like Bala said. It feels too disconnected from
because
the
there is
All-Stars.
no full. You're saying attach yourself to something like this. I agree. If they attach themselves, it'd be sick. But as Paula said, if they're not retweeting it Fortnite comp, if they're not retweeting it Fortnite status, game, Fortnite German, GR, whatever, like
surely
they're
Fortnite
not
German
attached.
did though, because Fortnite German are the ones that like would have set it up with Amar, right? So like surely they did.
I mean, it just seems like they're not attached. Like that's what we're trying to roll with at the end of the day.
Yeah, they
Fortnite
did.
DE.
They did.
No, they did. They yeah, Fortnite DE promoted it.
That's what it is.
They chucked him a retweet.
All right. Anyways, make any event that is actually supposed to be hyping it up needs a tie-in. Otherwise, I don't see how there's any sort of. This is just something separate that helps a creator do something, and that's fine. Maybe that's fine, but it's not hyping me up. And that is a problem that I'm having with this entire thing. Is there's nothing beforehand. They released a trailer for it that had no players, no caster voices, nothing that was like, oh, this is a competitive Fortnite. We're gonna have an all-star game. Like none. Like it was just, don't. Damn. You know?
Build.
Yeah.
Edit. Twist it.
Imagine if they had Nick A30 like run a little they just had Nick A30. They're like, yo, Nick A30, we'll pay you a little bit to on stream run this edit course that the pros are gonna be playing. If you get a time less than this, you're gonna be in the All-Star Showdown. Like, and all these little Timmys are like, yeah, let's go, Nick, you can do it. You got 5 tries. Like something like that. Something like that.
Yeah.
All-star votes. Yeah, let's vote in some people to play in the solo tournament who didn't make it. Let's vote Mongrelin.
Well, I suggested that on Twitter, and I had like loads of people like, no, and the reason is that I think people don't actually understand about this event now is there is so much money in like the solos event.
Yeah,
this is bigger than FNCS. The winner of solos gets more money than if they were to win FNCS.
So
like people are taking this serious. Like,
oh, you're stabbing my heart again.
Yeah.
Get prepped because it's gonna get stabbed a third time once we figure out what's going on with solos. But let's keep rolling on the All-Star page so we can get through it and talk about that.
Play-ins for an All-Star match.
We move past it. Yeah, so this is a part that I'm hella confused about as to why it's called All-Stars. Like you can't have All-Star play-in. It's like having like
you should have just called it MSI, mid-season invitational. This is just a mid-season invitational. It's you see last year, sorry, when they had FNCS solo invitational, then FNCS solos. It should have just been called FNCS invitational, and they should just do it like once every year. You have an FNCS invitational because like the concept of an all-star is different, and you see like the gimmicky fun all-star events that they have along with it. You can still have those as part of like the FNCS invitational, but like just calling it an all-star event in nature makes people expect things a certain way, and they're not wrong for expecting things a certain way. So when it's not that way, it's like, well, this isn't an all-star. Do you know what I mean?
You guys are tripping.
No, but it's like it's like, hey,
we're tripping.
Yeah,
your shoes are
go ahead, Pops. So how are we tripping?
Guy, you're a very smart, dumb person, bro. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you want to play in the all-star play-ins? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's two opposites. Like, you can't have an all-star event and have play-ins. It doesn't.
You guys are tripping.
Doesn't make sense.
Was the World Cup a World Cup? Was the World Cup a World Cup?
Yeah, but everybody, but people complain about that. We all complain about it.
I know we complain about that, but that's fine if you complain about it. I know you did, and I know we want. Well, it's not even that you complain about it. You're like, yeah, World Cup is great, but it's not a World Cup, and it's like, but I still want the World Cup. You know, like. Who cares?
Yeah,
who cares? Who cares what it's called? Like who actually cares? Because all the people
meaning.
actually participate. Yeah, maybe it has meaning to some people, but Epic doesn't care. They're recreating whatever the hell they want. They're recreating the terms all over the place.
Reinventing the wheel.
They're just like, yeah, fuck it. Like it's an all-star event. Like people get hyped for it. all the kids are like, yeah, All-Star event, and they're like, I want to play. Like, how do I get in? How do I get invited? Like, that's what they're
to be fair,
thinking.
honestly, I don't. This is the funny thing. Now that you do bring that up, I do think this is like, well, not. I do think it's 100% intentional. Like same shit with World Cup. Like World Cup is the biggest in most things. The World Cup is the biggest thing. Like the biggest sporting event in the world is the World Cup, right? Like by calling your event the Fortnite World Cup, like it adds a different sort of thing to it. Do you know what I mean? And same thing for this All-Stars. Like it just adds something because they could just call this, you know, the FNTASIA Invitation or the mid-season FNTASIA Invitation, whatever it is. But it's like calling it just like the All-Star. It just makes it like a different thing. It adds a certain level of branding and hype to it. That's different in a way that might actually be better than what other esports do. Like because this isn't a traditional thing to do, and yet I do think it puts more eyes on it. Like
this isn't the fifth ESL Cologne. This isn't the fifth ESL Cologne or ESL Katowice. So, you know, it's a new thing. It's exactly the same thing, but it's a new thing, bro, because it's called All-Stars now.
and to a lot of these people, right, for World Cup and for All-Stars, this is their first encounter with an event like this. So now, for a lot of kids, like, like Shy, you see how for us, we're like, you can't have an All-Star in this playing. So that doesn't make sense. But so a lot of people, it's like, they might not follow like sports where you have All-Stars, right? So it's like, this is their first encounter of an All-Star. So to them, it doesn't, nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And in fact, I think that's actually the large majority. Large majority of people won't have experience with anything All-Star related. So, like, okay.
There's the elbow take coming in. Elbow take.
I stop.
Got a little elbow take for you guys, okay?
Yeah.
The people who qualify through the All-Star play-ins, majority of them will be All-Stars.
No, 100. I 1,000,000% agree.
Almost more so than the bottom 50% of the people who qualified.
Yes, the best solo players will be the ones who qualify, and they will be better competitors than people who have already qualified via the prior means. I 1,000,000% agree. 1,000,000% agree.
So when we argue about play-ins, it shouldn't be an All-Stars. It's like, well, honestly, like there's going to be more All-Stars coming. Like there's going to be a bigger percentage of All-Stars coming from the play-ins than there would be from the invites.
What the heck? What? You know, it's...
No, because Bala, the problem is Bala is that because and Shy, it's because through our lenses we're looking at it as this is an All-Star. The whole point of the All-Star is that it's like
think about this, bro. How is that even a possibility? What is the qual format then to auto qual? It's corrupted. It's not possible.
Well, it's corrupted
like,
because
why are the bottom 50% of the players even that way then? Like, well, what's the way these guys are rolling in? Like, go to the player list. Like, if you're telling me that there's people who aren't in this event who are All-Stars, who performed in both FNCSs and blah blah blah, and they're not invited still, then like, you know, I get play-in solves that, but why not just solve that problem? Like
because
before
that's
you roll this.
But because Shy, okay, let's say this was like an international thing and we're in an environment where there's lands and stuff. I don't think you have that issue. But where we have so many, like you're doing this on it, because we're just looking at it, like, I'm thinking about it from the EU lens, like OCE, 75% of them won't be All-Stars. 90% of them won't be All-Stars. Do you know what I mean? But
well, that's
like,
fine, but for the reasons
it's a nature. But even in EU, you get that in EU, there is not a full lobby worth of All-Stars. There's not. You know what I mean? There isn't. From what we, because I'm sort of generalizing here based off of me knowing you as a person outside of, you know, just a podcast, like what we perceive to be as All-Stars or someone worthy of being an All-Star, there's not 50 of that in EU. And that's fine. That's fine. Like it should, like you look at the NBA, there's, you know, hundreds of players in the NBA. There's not, you know, 50 All-Stars, like 20, you know, 25, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's fine. It's just the problem is where we have it so that you're trying to do it for every single region. It's like, you're just going to have some bottom feeders who, they're not bottom feeders because they are decent comp players. They're just not All-Stars, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. That's just how it is.
Yo, okay, guys. You guys, when you're on the broadcast, okay, you literally have to be like, okay, this guy's an All-Star. This guy's a lobby filler.
Imagine.
There's legitimately lobby
Imagine.
fillers.
That's just the nature of it. You know what I mean? Because like the beauty of All-Stars, right? Like I will always go to NBA first. That's the first thing I think of.
Mm-hmm.
The beauty of All-Stars is every single All-Star, especially like from a commentator's perspective, whenever like that a player has a ball, the commentators have so much to say in terms of like, because that individual player has had such a great season. That's the reason why they're there. They've had an amazing season. There's so much to talk about in terms of them. Whereas like the reality is, certain people who are going to be competing in All-Stars for all different regions, like their stories haven't been told. There's not going to be that same level of, oh, he's had a phenomenal season, but his performance and blah, blah, blah was so amazing. Do you know what I mean? That's just the nature of it because of just how many people there are. So,
I mean, that's why, you know, when I think of All-Stars, I literally think of league, and like, you know, they're doing it internationally, like with multiple regions.
yeah.
It just needs to be done, you know.
Yeah,
like,
this is too early.
on land.
This is too early.
Yeah.
It'd be so sick.
Like,
Literally
I'm glad
20
they're doing
NA,
it now.
Top
Yeah.
20 EU.
Let's go up real quick and look at the modes, because
Okay.
like the too early will be because of these modes. Like this stuff looks lit, and one of the issues I have with this, right? So we have a blueprint battle that's rolling in, the skill challenges before, you know, I believe it's like a Wednesday to Saturday type event. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be all the skill challenges. Blueprint battle is apparently up first.
It's like an
And
edit
what
course.
I realized before we get into all this, right? Yeah, or it's edit course sick. Is we're gonna be watching this, like, you know, I think on production for 3 regions. If you're from the Brazil region and you like keeping up with everything, that's 4 regions. As you're watching broadcasted, there's 7 regions worth of this, right? You know, the first game might be sick, but if you know creative battles, it's like a best of 5, right? So it might keep going. If it doesn't, it is what it is. But you're gonna be watching this for the whole day, like just this. Like,
You don't have fun watching edit courses on YouTube?
it's not that I don't have
Hours?
fun watching edit courses. It's just that the coolest thing about this is the spectacle, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like on repeat watches, I get that, you know, there's new viewers coming in all the time. It might lose that spectacle. So if you save this type event, these types of things for like a LAN, right? Or you're gonna be watching it exclusively on that day with all the players for the one time. What I'm saying is, imagine if Creative World Cup was 7 times longer. Like, would it have the same, you know, laid back, we're kicking in the garden chairs, it's sick, yo, like I was having a good time watching it. That thing was
Did
7 times
anybody
longer,
say it
bro.
was sick at the time, mate?
I enjoyed watching Creative World Cup. I'm gonna be biased because I got to play the maps on that stage. No flex zone, but that is kind of a flex zone. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Flex.
But like, I
Nah,
was
I feel
really
you.
hyped to see how that rolled. There was a lot of money on the line. There's money on the line for
Yeah.
this stuff too. It's like, I found that a lot of fun. But I'm thinking, like, if Creative World Cup was 2 days longer, like,
No, 100%.
how would things look, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so that's the only worry I have in mind. It's not even the thing that's ruining the event for me, but it's just a worry that I
Yeah.
have, because this is a very good concept. This is good
So,
stuff.
We have an edit course. We have an aim
Mhm.
course, which I
Yeah.
still haven't jumped in. I need to jump into that and actually see what's
We
going on.
jumped in. We jumped in
Yeah,
in game, and
jumped in.
it is. Yo, the controller players are going to have a struggle with this
They're
one.
gonna have a torrid because they don't get aim assist on the targets. And actually, this
Yeah.
leads me into what I was actually gonna say. My sort of
Okay, but
complaint on it.
before we go to that, the next thing is it's called high tier. It's a build battle. It's a build like fast type of thing. And then the
You
last
do get
thing
punished for
is
making
called play for
mistakes
keeps
as well.
You do get punished for making
Yeah.
mistakes. Okay, because I was looking at this picture and I'm saying like, bro, like look how many fucked up builds there are in this. Like this guy can't even tunnel.
Yeah,
Whoever
so,
whoever
no,
took this
the
picture.
fucked up
Oh,
builds. This is the finished map. This is the start of the map where someone actually ended up like playing.
Yeah, they
with it.
ran
All the
through.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They ran through. Yeah, they fucked with the builds here, and that'll cost them time overall. Like,
yeah.
they have unlimited builds for
It'll
this.
cost you time. Yeah.
But when you're tunneling and stuff, there's bots shooting you, so you have to
can't
cover.
mess up. Yeah.
You leave a door
Or you
open,
die.
you get hit, and
Okay.
as
Yeah.
you move along, you're gonna get hit more and more. You have to waterfall perfectly at one stage. We didn't get to play the very end of it.
Oh,
have
do you
to
get
like
like only a
sideways
certain
tunnel.
amount of mats per like section?
No.
You have the master go, but like you just have to be fast.
Okay.
When you're
Because
doing
the
this.
bots would, if
Yeah.
you mess up, if you miss any build, if you mess up anything, the bots will just kill you. The thing is though, right, like realistically, with like the pros, like they shouldn't make any mistakes.
Yes.
So like, I still want to watch this with like 2 really good players, because I still haven't seen that, where 2 really good players where they just won't make mistakes. Like, what does that look like?
No, I know exactly what's going to happen. This will be a waterfall diff. every pro will approach that waterfall, and I guarantee you, half of them will be like, "Is there actually fall damage here? Like, I'm just gonna choose
No, but
this
most of them are gonna. If
and
you're playing,
die."
they're gonna play it before.
Yeah,
They
they're
don't
gonna play
know. That's
before. They're
the
gonna
true
practice
thing.
shit
They're gonna play
before.
it
Like,
before. They're gonna no. Yeah, don't know.
um,
What were you gonna say, Bola?
and then the last thing is play for keeps. This is like the domination mode, and it's
Yeah.
taking a couple of trios and putting them 3v3 against each other. You try to hold the point, basically.
Yeah, I jumped in to look at this as well. Kind of yikers. But
Is it
hey, we'll
wait?
see.
Is it hold the point or is it hold the flag?
So in the heist game mode with the
Mhm.
wild cards, you have
Mhm.
like the llama on your back.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to hold that.
Okay, so you're holding the flag essentially.
Yeah, you're just you're just holding the flag. You're trying to run around. You're trying to play angles. You just jump around literally everything there.
It's no building.
I think if you hold the flag like in the center or something, you get bonus points. I don't know, but like once again, the biggest issue with this mode, like these types of non-build modes, is that specific thing, the ability not to build structures, it actually gets old really fast.
Yeah.
I'm
Very
a big
fast.
advocate for search and destroy. I loved it when it first, like I think the second rendition of it coming out, we had these cool like 3 maps, ran through that shit in like half a day. I was like, all right, like what's next?
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
even 3 games in, I'm like, give me a new map or let's keep this going. So that's my only worry for this one. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, my big issue with this, that I've not really seen many people talk about, is that the beauty of these events when they're done in like the NBA per se, is that it's specialized. The 3-point contest has all the best shooters from that season shooting. In this, like, I don't know if you have the tweet or anything ready, but like Felix is doing like the edit course, I think, for like NA East. And he's like tweeting like, I'm not a great mechanical player. Like I have no business being in this. Do you know what I mean? So
Felix
it's like,
with the edit course,
yeah,
baby.
like, yeah, Felix is doing like the edit course thing. And it's like, Felix is a great player, you know, was in the finals, great guy as well, and understands the game better than the majority of people playing in this region, but he shouldn't be in a blueprint battle. You know what I mean? He shouldn't be that. I mean, it should be the people who we know are like the fastest editors. Like, do you know what I mean? Like people who we know are the fastest, people who know are the maddest aimers. Like get Noah Riley in the Bullseye Bonanza, get Mongrel in there, get people who the community already know and establish as like some of these mad aimers.
Why the fuck is Raider 464 not in the blueprint battle, bro?
Put him in it. Genuinely,
like,
like put him in
nuts.
it. Do you know what I mean? Like, or back to what you were saying earlier, Bala. Get him to be one of the people promoting it. He's like, he must be like the #1 edit course person, like in the flipping thing in terms of like as a brand. Get him to promote it. Like make him do a video where he tries to beat the blueprint battle, and he's like, oh, what pros can beat my time? Find out when you watch Stephens. Is also show. I mean, get him to do some promo for it. But like, it's not specialized, but it 1,000,000% should be. Like, it should be these people who are already all-stars. I'm not just saying get anyone from anywhere who we know is a good editor, builder, or aimer. Just get these people already all-stars who are known for these specific things. Like, that to me just makes it a lot more entertaining to watch, because even though it shouldn't be that way, because it's not like that in like All-Stars and other things, but it's like at least the community has a thing of like, oh yeah, I think Mongrel's a better aimer than Mitra because he beat him in the Bonanza. You know what I mean? Like, at least you have shit like that. Do you know what I mean? But
that'd be lit. That'd be lit. I actually I want that. Yeah, that's something that I was very confused when I saw some, like, why Coop and Colazzo invited to the AIM thing. I mean,
they got the stickiest aim, you know what I'm saying? So
it's Coop's controller, right?
Yeah,
they're both
controller.
Yeah, both controller. They're gonna have a torrid time. They have no aim assist. They're gonna have a torrid. Look, honestly, I feel bad for them, because it's like, what? I don't know. They're probably gonna plug in their mouse and keyboard for it, but then it's like, we've got 2 controllers in it. They're just mouse and keyboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think Sway and Booga for high tier kind of makes a little bit of sense. I think I would have preferred Booga in a blueprint battle, but I don't know who I actually would want to see crank, like, to be honest.
Bizzle, bro. I want to see Bizzle on high tier. Because the man is the creator of the tunnel, bro, right? So
shit, for the first time, I would have wanted to see him, but that would have been like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I would have wanted to see that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You guys hear that?
Yeah, we could hear. It's fine. I didn't hear nothing, actually.
Okay, sorry.
I didn't hear nothing. I do like that they gave Fremont and Wolfie like something in, like a way to get in.
That was the
Dude,
big thing. Yeah, that was the big
Aqua
thing.
versus Fremont and High Tier, the battle of the bands.
Yeah, Aquasia and Fremont Wolfie getting in is nice because obviously they were the people affected by their teammates being Wallies, and then Mongar and Micho, the two biggest names in the region who just have been nowhere to be found, but will add some viewership is a nice touch as well.
I also like the concept of the potential for these two to go up against each other, like in the thing.
That's really good.
And yeah,
especially now that they've split.
yeah, exactly. Now that they've split,
yeah.
so let's look like we're actually having a bracket, double elim bracket.
Double Elam bracket, bro.
Like, it's crazy.
Bracket reset.
With a bracket
And
reset.
wow.
I don't know how they
Bracket reset,
actually
yeah,
understood
bracket
that we need
reset.
a bracket reset to double elim. Like, you would have expected them to be like, fuck
blast,
it.
blast, bro, blast.
Yeah, true. Dude, I've always wanted brackets like on a high tier, like produced level with like a lot of prize pool and stuff like that for like a zone wars tournament or a box fight or something like that. Some interesting creative mode that is really, really, really going in the head-to-head battle type of thing. But every single one of these modes, except for the play for keeps, has no. You can't. There's no. It's a race. It's just a race. It's two people racing. Yeah. So, like, how is that a head-to-head? Why not just take the times? Like, it's literally two people racing here, and then why not have just every single person on the same? Just treat it like the Olympics. Have 4 people go at the same time, and then have another 4 people go, and then whoever has the best time, like.
And then the top 2 times, you have another 4 people. Then the final lobby.
Yeah.
Boom. You just made an 8-team bracket into a 3-team bracket. You're done.
A 3-stage, this is going to take forever. Yeah. And I am a little confused because I don't know like how many times you go through the blueprint battle, for example, in one series. Is it like a best of 5? Is it a best of 3? Is it a best of 1?
I don't know.
So like,
I think it might be a BO. I don't know, so I shouldn't say.
I think it's a BO1 from what it looks like.
Like I feel like it's a BO1.
Yeah, I'm fine with that because otherwise this would take forever and it'd be so freaking boring, bro. Like, but at the same time, like that's also like not even interesting because somebody could just fuck up. Somebody has a high ping spike one day or one game right when they start.
Yeah,
this is like over for you. Yeah, you snooze, you lose. That's cool too. That's cool too. Whatever. Yeah.
True. I mean, the last thing though, for FNCS, it is the solo event, and then with solos comes
are we talking about drops now, or are we?
Yeah. We're going to the final. If we're done with.
No, I don't think we're done here because we still need to talk about like the elimination thing, right? The player with the most eliminations at the end of each match.
Yeah.
And then also how people qualify.
Pop off on this. Yes.
Yeah, you pop off. You go ahead, King.
Yeah. Useless. This thing is just, I don't get it. So it's like, we move. Whoa. We move past the
my capture card just fucking alien zoomed you, bro. That's the second
time it's happened.
I know. I don't know what's going on, but whatever. It's not that important. But it just fucking hypnotized Shia.
I literally got like reverse flashbang. Like it's insane. This has been going on all the way in the early days when it comes to having like prizes for elims or whatnot. And back then, like for this to work, it was a ridiculous amount of money that's handed out. 113 100K, $113 to 1,000 is just like nominal in the grand scheme of things. And now the way the game's kind of played out, it's like the person who's going to be winning this anyways. Like Bala, I was reading a thread that you were part of in Reddit. Like for some reason, I'm down in the trenches reading Fortnite thread comments.
If for some reason you're in the trenches, then I'm in the fucking trenches, bro. I'm fucking like.
You're responding like people argue with you that it makes like for a better viewing experience. Like how is grief more fun for watching? How is like there's gonna be stuff to watch then? Like okay, it's game 6. How is there nothing to watch on your screen? Why do you need incentive for a bad team to just push and start to get elims. And anyways, the majority of elims, the people who end up popping off, they come through an endgame. The people who actually survive in it are doing really well in the tournament. Like that's where the big pop off comes from. Like Day is probably winning this, as you said on Reddit, like in an endgame with 8 elims on low ground. You know, like it's just it's kind of counterintuitive. Doesn't make that much sense. I'm not sure why they're experimenting with it again. And then this is kind of like a complaint for my own job, but like, you know, we'll get to that complaint in a second. Viewing parties aren't pushing this when they're watching. It's non-trackable. And then for broadcast, you know, this now we've signaled it down to one little niche thing. Like we have to focus and call out to this when there's going to be more important things going on regardless the entire time, right? Or like it's going to be in the back of everyone's heads for a second. It might trip up some people who are calling, like, because this is truly insignificant. Like it doesn't honestly matter that much. So it's like falling back on a stat that you need to say because it's there. It'll honestly trip people up from the proper narratives to focus on, and that is what like triggers me the most about it. But I feel like this is an outdated type beat. I think it's dope to push into All-Stars. Like that's the one caveat, right? Like it's All-Stars, make it glamorous, make it like, you know, if you want to try this type of flashy stuff, go for it. But then, you know, go all in and make it worthwhile for people to actually end up pushing. You know, we had Make It Rain before.
Oh no.
You know, like
Make it rain.
Like if you want something that's crazy and affects everyone, it has to affect like the players too. You can have Make It Rain, but not as invasive, right? Like I know Balo, you were actually not even you were making the trenches and battling in them with Make It Rain, right? Like
bruh, Make It Rain, what an experience. It is exactly like it is still that same thing where it's like we want to it's epic. No, it's the community still, when they're arguing on Reddit about like how this is good for the viewing experience and stuff, it's still them buying into the Daquan narrative. Man, competitive is boring. Competitive is so fucking boring. All you do is sit in a box. Like, it's a Daquan narrative that people still have bought into to this day, where it's obviously everybody understands who watches competitive. It's not just them sitting in the box. Like it's like, bro, it is hard as hell the entire time. And if you're not sitting in the box, you're actually probably... If you're not sitting in the box, you're just dead, right? There's so much risk involved in trying to W key and play in a style like that. No matter what, there's a fundamental misunderstanding of how the game will work on that stage. So Make It Rain, TwitchCon 2018, right? Every single stage, you're going along your early game. You won your fight off spawn. You're like, yes, let's go. I got 2 kills. Didn't even get a point yet, but you know, at least I survived off spawn. I got some loot. Now I need to go farm. You go get a position. You get like soccer field. You start farming all the metal walls. You need like 999 mats for everything. It takes forever. So you're there, and all of a sudden, third zone starts. And you're like, okay, third zone. I should start looking through my cone and shit. And you just hear, pew, pew, like just people running down the aisle with air horns. Pew, pew, lights are going off. You're like, oh shit, what the fuck? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, grenades, doom, doom, doom. It's like, what the hell is going on? You're just in your box, like holding a cone, like, ah. You see Ghost Aiden just killed Sean. Ghost Aiden just killed Morgaus. It's like, oh fuck, he's right there. You're like running away. Ah, it's just totally like you're trying to win the tournament. Meanwhile, it's just like people are just fucking around, just trying to Make It Rain $100,000 bonus. Yo, keep it up is out there like, he's like, hey, I know I can't win. I'm gonna just get as many kills as possible with grenade. Yo, keep it up. The original grenade stacker. It's not Airwalks. It's not Airwalks. The Make It Rain bonus carried over game to game. So if there was a tie in a game, because okay, so basically it was like there was $25,000 on the line for the team that got the most kills in third zone. So at the beginning of third zone to the end, they were tracking who got kills, right? If it was tied at the end between 2 duos or multiple duos, if only like 2 people got kills or whatever, it would carry over to the next game. Nobody would get that money. It would be $50,000 the next game for whoever got in third zone. That shit carried over in the last heat so hard that in grand finals, the first Make It Rain bonus was $100,000, something ridiculous. Something ridiculous. So Yo, keep it up, just went for it. You got like 3 kills with nades. Made a bag, bro. Him and his duo partner made a fucking bag. So yeah, like okay, it's cool. Nobody remembers that story at all. But yeah, there was another incentive, and It was hard as hell to watch. It was hard as hell to play. It was hard. It just ruined a lot of people's games because of how it was. And yeah, that's the thing. Terrible experience.
It's like, if you think about the goal for this, right? The goal for this in All-Stars is just it's looking to just, I would say, stylize eliminations and make things more flashy.
They're fishing. They're fishing for an Aiden story, right? They're fishing for
is it that, or are they just trying to make elims something that are worth going for? In which case, you know, I'm thinking about another game once again, Apex Legends, that does something with elims that ties both the players and the viewers watching and everyone in the lobby to have the effect of, oh shit, Aiden's over there, run the other way, or oh shit, we want to challenge those guys because, you know, they have the best stuff in the game or whatnot. Like, there's a risk association with getting all the elims. It's like in Apex, you have kill leaders in the lobby. Like, you know, if you're the most ahead and if you have the most elims.
Isn't there like armor or whatever that upgrades based on your kills?
And then that's the other thing, right? If they just want to incentivize people to W key in Apex, yeah, it's like everyone just imagine that everyone's playing with 120 max effective HP, and the only other way to get HP is to deal damage to other people. And this is something I wanted to bring up in like the splitting of the drops and how Surge works
we can bring it back
in general as well. Yeah, we can bring it back up there, but that's something that gets people pushing. That's a good reason to fight because it's a gameplay mechanic, right? And there's other alliterations.
It's a strategy that works, bro.
Yeah.
Format is never going to make W King a strategy that works for you to win the tournament. It's just never going to make it that. They've tried.
Ever.
FNTASIA Solo Invitational, they tried. It just made the results completely muddy. Like, I have no clue what the hell is going on in Solo Invitational because elims were worth 4 points or whatever. Like, way more than placement. Right? It tried, failed. They've even made formats where literally you only get points from elims. And it's always just so hard to grasp and to understand and to figure out, like, what is going on, because the game just doesn't work. If there's any sort of placement incentive, you just can't have any sort of elim. Like, yes, you have some elim incentive, but you can't have a major elim incentive because it's too risky. It's just too risky towards the overall tournament for yourself. Just how it is.
It has to be gameplay oriented. Yeah. So, like, talking about care packages, right? Like the way the entire supply drop process works. That's one way to have crazy fights.
Yeah.
People who are desperately behind. We need the power weapon. Fight for this package. Boom. Right? Like, has to be gameplay first.
Yep.
Barla's suggestion from last season: add gears as part of a siphon thing. Add things to siphon.
Nuts and bolts. Yeah.
Like the Apex thing of, you know, if you get siphon, like 50% of the siphon overheal, like a Reyna or some shit, right? Like, it's like, you know, you over shield.
You start with a 200 mat cap, and every time you get a siphon, you get 50 extra. Like,
yeah, like,
that's a bit extreme, but something like that where you like literally need to get a couple kills, otherwise you're not going to survive an endgame. Like,
no, so like, okay, I'm done with All-Stars. I want to talk about
I have one more thing, which is just the way that people are qualifying. I don't get how, like, people are qualifying through trios and stuff.
It's taking your highest first result is what it looks like, because Shulek, Squeezy, and Jerky are playing with their season 5 trios who all qualled being in the top 15. I believe it was 12th, 13th, and 15th for them rolling in. So they're there, but when it comes to playing, I feel like in the play for keeps or whatever, I don't know how they determine top 4 trios entirely out of two seasons that gave us 6.
It must be like average placement over season over both.
Okay.
It must be. I think that. So I guess it's going to be Hen, Janice, Chapix, Flickanos, Thomas, Vidil, No Riley Reason, and Alexinazic Squeeze.
But then literally winners aren't playing. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Maybe they do the winners of both and then the last 2 slots, the 2 most consistent.
No, because maybe, but True Lex squeezing, they're so I don't know who's going to be playing in the play for keeps. I literally don't understand that. And then the second thing is, like, there's trios who somehow, like, there's a situation out there. I think there's multiple situations out there where a trio played season 6 and they placed 25th, and then they broke up and played next season. They didn't, like, the 2 of them didn't qual, and then the other guy did qual, and he made it deep, like he made it to grand finals, and that guy got fucked and the other two are in. Like there's some weird situations out here where like they didn't make any sense on
Really?
how. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm done.
Okay, cool. It's cool you have NAE stop here because we're gonna be talking about the people who are there right now. It's solo season, so it's the return of split teaming, split drops across the map.
Oh man.
And man, you know, I was saying NA East, E was even more abhorrent, man. I see Levin shrinking in this chair a little bit there, you know what I'm saying? Like, talk to me, man. Like, what is going on?
These are just trio maps. All the maps I'm seeing for All-Stars are just trio maps.
Skittles, Agers, Degen in their Orchard split, Bucky Macwood just chilling in Craggy Cliffs, Tahis right game.
You know, I said for a lot of these teams, right, for like Tahi, Sprite Gabe, for Kami Teak on the EU, right, get a wide angle of them gliding in an All-Stars versus them gliding in an Invitational. You won't be able to tell the difference. You would not be able to tell me a difference if it's FNCS Invitational or if it's trios, because a lot of these guys are literally just landing there. Like Kami Teak, their spot is they're literally just doing what they do in trios, but then they're just not going to meet up and move on. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and it's the same for a lot of these teams. It's dumbfounding.
So my thing is that, like, you know, man, this is a deep dive topic, but it's like when it comes to off spawn and solos, especially, or just in general, the idea is you just don't want to fight. It's not a good idea. You want to make it off spawn with your equipment. Once you get off spawn, then you start fighting, even if it's against your teammates. I think it was Taste and Janice from Steamy that we saw that, you know, teammates can literally Beyblade battle each other and ricochet off over and over. Yeah, so there's definite possibility of that. The issue is this is the natural gameplay that happens in the POI, right? Like if you spectate two players who don't know that they're around each other in solos, they're looking out of windows, right? There's tension. There's
they're
drama
replacing
in the POI.
walls to look,
Replacing walls to look like it's an actual game. Whereas if you, I guarantee if you go to that's what he says, in Lazy Lake here, or any other POI around the map, and you see these teammates next to each other, everyone is head to the floor, 9 to 5, looting up their spot, and then leaving. No tension whatsoever. They might place walls and moving from building to building, saying, "Hello, how's it going, neighbor?" While they go back and forth. But there's no, like, you know, suspense. And there is no gameplay in early game at all with the teams there. You know, people are like, yo, but what if someone drops in, you know, Illest is there at Lazy? I'll keep using Lazy right now because we just see a team. And the perfect example of, like, you know, person who's not part of the trio in there. Illest rolls in, fights Zayt or whatever, right? Like, you know, they fight, then Saf and Zayt shoot each other as well and disengage. Like, there's, even if you have 7 different buses that drop and Saf comes 3 minutes late, Zayt's not going to touch his side of the map once that fight is done. He's going to loot whatever he needs to loot and roll. Saf drops in, he loots, he goes. So that separate bus idea doesn't work. Having people in orbs in the sky and they drop randomly makes things non-competitive anyways. Doesn't work. I've thought about it all. So then when it comes to this Apex shield theory, right? There's this big thing where it's like, what if you just had general surge for the entire lobby? Like, what if you had a goal? If you want to stop these off-spawn fights, it's like you have to have 200 surge, like basically an elim, or 150 surge by the time the first zone closes or the second zone closes. What if that was an idea to fix solo teaming? This way,
yeah.
If you try to trade, you're now Creo slacks. You can't. It's very obvious when you see people trading surge. It's not obvious for people when they just split a drop and they're teaming, right? Because collusion is rampant in solos, man. I'm sorry if you don't know this. All your favorite pros cheat in solos. I'm sorry if you're hearing this for the first time. The people you idolize cheat this mode because what else are they supposed to do? They play trios, they duos, squads. It's a, and my bad if I'm ranting here. It's like a hyperbolic time chamber. It heats up the idea that you want to be at this POI because you control it for so long. They're like, hey, now you're by yourself. Go land somewhere on the map. Well, everywhere's contested. I've conditioned Lazy for the last 6 seasons. I'm landing Lazy. My teammates are too because they're in the same situation. well, fuck, man. I don't want to fuck over my teammates. I'm not supposed to fight off spawn. I'm gonna keep my head to the ground, loot my 2 buildings, and rotate. If I tag them, they're cool. If I don't, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I feel like that surge thing would change it all.
If
You have to be forced.
if there was a significant amount of actual fights breaking out on the map, people would be forced to go for Surge. Like if Surge was hard, imagine a situation where Surge was the hardest possible, where people were constantly going for tags. You literally couldn't move out of your POI without trying to go for tags on somebody else. You know, like in trios, for example, Surge is the hardest it will ever be, especially in EU, for example. Literally, people are going for tags from the very, very beginning. If you do not do that, you roll into second zone, you try to make your Surge base, you're already way behind. You're screwing yourself. So you have to, in that situation, go for it because there's just that inherent tension of Surge. So like, I get it's a cool idea, but Surge, you can't make it so that Surge, because what happens if somebody's just uncontested? He's just like so far away from anybody. He's just screwed. Right.
So here's the thing. Now you get to start to talk with the game. So if you want to make things more consistent, now you're introducing natural mobility from edges, sides of the map. That's why we love the geysers. That's why we love neutral vehicles, right? But the other thing is, if you don't want to have Surge screw over people, make Surge accessible. One of the most annoying things for me is that we only ever get to see Surge right before it's gonna pop.
Yeah.
Have it available for everyone all the time, and then have certain Surge, thresholds do something for your character. Now, here's where the effective HP comes in. Here's where the build cap comes in, right? Everyone starts off with a 200 mat cap. If you want to have max mat cap, you have to be you must have done 300 damage, or you're not going to be having 500, right? Yeah. If you want to have 150 shields,
here's the thing about it. Okay,
damage.
We have all these fucking ideas and stuff about how, but those ideas they're not going to get implemented. And solos is just gonna be a mess all consistently, and everybody's gonna be like, yeah, but trio, like obviously it's just gonna happen because they're qualifying through trios, child. They're qualifying through trios, so of course they're gonna be splitting their drops because the trios are there. Nah, man. Stretch is gonna qual, Saf is gonna qual, Skittles, Degenerate Ages, they're gonna qual anyways. Bucky and Macron are definitely gonna qual. They're gonna be at their spots no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter. That's not how that won't change anything. There's still gonna be these situations. Teo and Shimp are still gonna be there. Slacks and Jacks, they're still gonna be there. If one of them is gone, still another person's gonna be gone. So it's just like just making it even more random, to be honest, where the collusion is happening. And the crazy part too is that it's not even teammates, bro. It's not even teammates. Like, people who have never played together will still come to these implied agreements in solos.
Oh no, like there are people who have not played each other where, like, you hear rumblings of there's agreements here, there's agreements there. Like, these people will just DM each other. They will literally just straight up DM each other and be like, oh, I see on the map we're landing at the same spot. I'll take these houses, you take those houses. Like, let's not grief each other. It's literally as simple as that. That's what will happen, regardless of whether they play with each other or not. So it's not even like the fact that they're teammates makes it like a bit blatant, and it makes it sort of like, oh, who would have thought, like, all three? But this happens whether they're teammates or not. This is still happening all across the map for the people who aren't teammates. So yeah,
some places it's happening completely naturally too, where it's like completely fair.
Yeah.
But bro, when dude, it makes it comes to the point where I'm just like, is it even worth my time watching when I know for sure that there's like collusion happening all over the place?
Yeah, that's the rough thing, man. I think that is the hardest part of it. It's like the interest levels, like, what do these how do these games play out? Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like,
I woke up saying that, hey, it's All-Stars. It is what it is. We're gonna have a cool event with Mans. But then Levin starts the episode saying, yo, the prize pool's higher than FNCS. So now my heart's like,
this is the thing.
It's a real tournament. It's a real big tournament.
It's a real big tournament, man. And look at the red shit. Like, if you want to pull up the EU map as well,
I don't.
That is even more. I posted in the.
The EU map is worse than this one.
It is absolutely atrocious, man. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like this is the biggest event of the year, right? When you put it that way, it really puts it in perspective. This is the biggest event of the year.
Is it really, man? That just breaks my heart.
This is the biggest event of the year. Those solo matches
That's
will be
true.
the biggest solo. They will not even the biggest solo matches. They will be the biggest like set games, tournament games of the entire year. And we are certain that there's collusion. That is hard to stomach. Definitely.
The
That is
EU
hard
map's
to
not
stomach.
loading, so I can't bring it up.
Oh, all good.
Somebody posted. Okay, so that's the map, but like somebody posted that map, but then they highlighted the teams. Because on there, it doesn't highlight the teams. Let me try to find it.
It doesn't
Somebody
matter. We
highlighted
just the
teams.
point is that this like we don't need to highlight. Like, actually, I do want to highlight a specific team because I think it's fucking funny as shit. June 9th, Zayt tweets, All-Star, Lazy Lake. By the way, Zayt's retired, right? Lazy Lake, he's taking the main buildings. Okay, all right. And then we go over here, Stretch, taking Benji plus
Seconds
gas
later.
plus pool for All-Stars. Seconds later, yep. And then seconds later, after that, fucking Zayt, retired by the way, doesn't play this game anymore. New profile picture.
Yeah.
Ronaldo and Ziff.
That was fucking
Dude,
so. That was fucking.
I did not
hilarious.
understand the context until Shayo illuminated the fact that they posted their drop spot maps before, because I didn't know that I knew that there was like the collusion thing. And everybody's like, oh, it's solos, haha, really trios. But I didn't.
Yeah.
All I saw was this in isolation. So I was like, okay, funny. Zayt posted a picture of Ronaldo and Ziff, and he's there with them at World Cup. And it's like, okay. But they did this moments after Zayt retired, by the way. It's landing Lazy Lake with Stretch. For context, Ronaldo and Ziff colluded in World Cup qualifiers by having somebody, I forgot what his name was.
Tino
Waffles?
JFPS.
Huh?
Oh.
Wasn't it Tino JFPS?
No, it wasn't. B-Hex was involved somehow. There was somebody else as well.
Mans
Anyways.
were landing onto each other. Mans were picking. Yeah.
Yes, there was a guy who's landing on them who had points, but was like, I give up on my qual, and he's just giving them free big pots off spawn and free 1 point elim. Just landing and just like jumping around with his pickaxe next to them multiple games in a row. That's why they got banned for 2 weeks. That's why everybody hated them.
And then they qualified. Anyway.
And then they qualified anyways for World Cup, and still people hated them. But anyways,
He got
Zayt
booze at World Cup, man. Like, that's crazy. I didn't know.
Zayt is implying he's gonna give free big pots to his teammates.
Yeah. Nah. That's he straight up, saying. What more is it to say? A picture tells 1,000 words.
Yeah. That's true.
That's fucked up, bro. That's fucked up. That's hilarious. Yeah, we'll see. Whatever happens, I guess. Whatever actually pops off, we'll have to analyze it with a fine-tooth comb and try to figure out if there's proof within the game rather than just looking on Twitter.
Well, like, okay, so what do you guys do then if you're Epic though? What do you do? Because like we are certain there's collusion going on. That's the reality. But it's like, what do you do?
It's simple. You either give up on the mode entirely, right? And you never host another solos competition again. And if you don't want to do that, you invest and make solos better in the back end. Because this, once again, every solution I can think of has to do with changing the way the game plays when you're playing solos competitively. And if they're not willing to do that, it is time to vault a mode for just competitive presentation on a broadcast. Name one other esport. I know Fortnite does this thing where, we define ourselves and blah, blah, but it's like, name any other BR that has solos. Like, there isn't. They're all team-based and they're successful.
They have
and it's
solos
fine.
that they play like as a mode, but none of them run them on like, yeah.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong.
Because
PUBG solos are dope, but like,
I was just gonna say, because to add another level to the issue, right? That we haven't addressed. Half of the people on that map are going to be all in calls with each other. They're all going to be in calls with each other, right?
What do you mean calls?
Like,
calls. Oh, bro.
Bro.
look at
The British.
Oh, this is so funny. Look at this
the
shit.
British in me was coming out a bit there, yeah. But they're all going to be in calls. They're all going to be in calls with each other, and it's like it's so messed up, dog. Like they're all going to be in calls, and it's like this Amplify guy, like how, dog? Like how?
What is this? What's his name? Randy Jackson,
who
the
you
American
mean?
Idol judge. He just said dog all the time. Where's this coming from? Like, who says dog?
I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
This is the funniest
Oh.
thing to me. Are you allowed to be in call? This is Amplify tweeting. Are you allowed to be in call with somebody that's also playing All-Star Tourney? Not giving any in-game comms, obviously. Want to stream it, but can't be asked being alone for 3 hours. We have three different people respond. Queasy, they're all different perspectives. Queasy said, "Yeah, you can. Doubt you should be in a call with Matzo, but since you land the same spot, who really cares?" BloodX tweets, "Absolutely should not be allowed." And then Connor, the lawyer in him, is like, "You probably don't want to be with somebody in an event, but yeah, go for it."
Yeah.
The fact that this is even a
Pain.
question
like-
is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. That's pain.
I mean, it's impossible not to do in-game comms when what do you like? You naturally react. Levin, you were just playing like a comp game. I'm playing DM, and like every 3 seconds, it's like, you know, you react to something. Like if
Yeah.
I'm advising to call someone, oh fucker, just beam me. And it's like, you know, if I'm playing, I'm like, yo. You know what I mean? Like if I'm playing that same lobby, I'm like, yeah, I'm looking at my mini map, like, where's Simplify land again? Like, I'm 6 points behind. And I'm 1 HP, 1 HP. Shit's on. And I was like, okay, it's 51 HP. Zone. I heard some shots here. Like, you know, like, I don't know. It's
I got a purple pump,
you
bro. I got a
naturally
purple pump. First chest, purple pump. Like, oh, really?
That's a nice purple pump you got there, son. And it's even like a matter of like, it's like, even if it's the opposite, that's still bad when it's like, let's say me and you, Bala, right? You know, we're in the call, we're playing, and I'm like, hey, yo, where are you, bro? Like, it's like, third zone, where are you, bro? And you're like, tell me where you are. If I'm like nearby and I'm like, you know, yeah, I'm not gonna go near you. Do you know what I mean? It's like if that even affects my decision making, that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like that shouldn't be allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, even if it isn't like gonna be maliciously used to be like, oh yeah, okay, we team on this guy and we spread a loot. You make sure you don't loot the big pots. Like even if it's not gonna be that, even if it's as simple as,
Throw me some
oh,
minis,
you're
bro.
over there, I'm gonna throw me some minis. Even if it's as simple as, oh, you're over there, so I'm not gonna go over there because I don't want to mess you up.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be allowed. That should not be allowed whatsoever.
yeah, and then like past that too, it's like shit will always leak. Like if you're feeling yourself, you pop off. Like I just beamed this guy at the gorge for like 120. I'm the best player in the world, and like, you know, your boys in the call rotating from Hunter's Haven, like at the gorge, you say, hey, looks over, guys like in a wood, like, you just sees one wood box and like minis popping inside it, like, you have info on what happened here, like.
Look at my railgun. Like madness. Man.
Didn't people got warned back in FNTASIA solos? Booga, Zypha, there's so many clips back then where they're just like rotating next to each other and just like giggling like little fucking clowns because it's like, it's just like, really?
They were doing it on stream. Like they had the ball to do that on stream. There will be so many people that are just doing that, and maybe even worse, just off stream. Like,
one thing is that
really?
like people don't even. I still think people don't know get the effect of all the warnings that people got out for like resetting tourneys and stuff like that, because they've stated like, if you got a warning, like next time you get a warning, no matter if it's bannable or not, you're getting banned. Like,
Yeah,
they're gonna be so. If there's not like at least 10, 20 bans from this tournament, Epic is being soft.
yeah. Unless there's a
there won't be.
miracle and no one colludes. We see Saf at Caddy Corner, Zayt at Stealthy Stronghold.
But even then, right? Like realistically, right? If you were looking at things in like a professional sense, like I know in sports, it's like if you just discuss like colluding even before you do it, and even if you don't collude, like the fact that you discuss colluding prior, that's an offense.
That's already disqualification.
That's already an offense. So like even by that standard, half the people playing should already be banned because they would have already discussed with their teammates or whoever it is, like, hey, yo, you're landing there, I'm not gonna go over there, you take those buildings, I'll take these. Yeah, you're done, you're banned. That should be it. but it won't happen. So
Yeah, especially the
The
ones on
only way
Twitter.
to fix this is you have an event where it's a brand new map, right? Imagine if Fortnite was full comp focused. Instead of in-game events, like, and COVID's not happening, they have like a LANs where the best players in the world reveal the new map to everyone as it happens. And like the players don't know shit, right? They haven't seen the new map, and it's a solos tournament. It's happening like, you know, over just a minute amount of games, 4 games or something, and then boom, game 1, everyone drops on a fresh map. They don't know the POIs or the spawns. You're not in comms with your boys. You're not sitting beside them either. All the trios are split up. So like, you know,
isn't this
what
everything
happens?
we didn't want? I like Dream
Literally
Anaheim.
everything we never, ever, ever want in a comp game, because you want everybody to be at their peak. You want them to be able to study everything.
Yeah, but I'd
Yeah.
rather have people not at their peak and playing fairly.
By the way, like, it's not even. I have one more example here that's just like mind-boggling to me. Maybe not. It's like this reverse 2K tweet. I know, like, he's not even thinking about, like. He says, so I got offered 20 gifted each game to hot drop in All-Stars. Do I take it? 20 gifted each game is a shit ton of money, by the way. Just saying. 6 games? Okay, there you go. Like a fuck ton of money. Is that not idea? Isn't that just match fixing? Straight up?
That is literally match fixing. That is he what he did, yeah. No, he's trolling us, right? Because what he did is he got an example of match fixing, and he just like put it to the world to see how many people would identify that this was like taken out as an extract and an example of a book about match fixing, right? Like that's what he did. So it's actually jokes on everybody else that responded to us, but yeah, like this is straight up just hard match fixing. That's literally what it is.
And people don't understand that, because it's just like, oh, this is like Twitch culture or whatever. But he's hot dropping. He would be hot dropping, ruining other people's games, and that's the only win condition for him, is to hot drop, right?
Yeah, but like that's the thing, right? Because
And throwing
Fortnite
his
promotes like the whole streamer thing, and you know, content creators, and anyone can win, and every style is supported. Like, if you're streaming, this is just part of the stream. And like, doesn't Fortnite push this stuff? Like, if someone was 24 hours streaming and like, you know, or doing something crazy for charity, like we could mention it. This would be something that at one point could be highlighted by casters in the early days, that all reverse hot dropping tilted. I mean, you guys know about the challenge he has on stream right now, and this time he's up against Nick Merckx. This is gonna get wild. I can't believe it, but the gifted subs are going to a good cause. So it's like, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like just within Fortnite, like, yes, there's 100% match fixing, but like there's also a gray area because of how, you know, the players, the creators are just kind of treated.
Well, that's why I loved your tweet response, Barlow, because it's like the ESIC would have a field day in Fortnite. There would be case on case on case. Their foul cabinet would fucking explode. Like they'd be everywhere with it'd be insane. They'd need to hire 10 times the amount of people to deal with the amount of cases of just fuckery.
Or they wouldn't, because it's so blatantly obvious to so many people.
That is true. That is true. But it's like the problem is and I really like that point, because it's hard in the sense of, in other cases with match fixing, it's very like dark. You know,
Yeah,
I mean?
it's dark.
Very,
This is not
under
dark
the
at all.
table,
Yeah.
like this is like, it's fucking like, we know this is wrong. Like,
Because people typically are match fixing for bets, right? They're like, I'm betting on you to lose. Please lose.
Exactly.
That's how it goes.
But
to be fair,
it's like,
who fucking knows? Who fucking knows what's happening in the dark depths of Fortnite competitive betting websites and shit?
Who knows?
Like, who knows? Maybe it's just like
I don't know if they still do, but there were bets for events and World Cup time. I remember there were bets for events and World Cup time. I don't know if there still are for like recent FNTASIAs and shit, but there's nothing I've ever seen discussed. But
it better not be, because if they are, they're just completely non-integral. Like,
yeah.
Dude, it actually, that terrifies me, to be honest, because the betting syndicates and shit like that, the people who like are legitimately match fixers, who knows if that existed in Fortnite? Who knows the type of shit that players are having to deal with? Like it's dark as fuck when you go down these paths. Like people getting threatened. Asia, like in China, literally like the people, the mobs there, fucking threaten families and shit for them for pro esports players to throw games and stuff.
God damn.
Constantly, that
That's
happens, and they can't do
That's
anything about it. They just have to throw a game. You know, because there's no
Yeah.
authorities there helping them. There's nobody. They can't make a living anyway, so they have to take the money the first time. It's like the health of a scene is very, very important to stop stuff like that, and also stop just cheating in general. Yeah, this is a tough one. Stream sniping is one that we haven't even talked about, but
that's a whole nother can of worms, man.
That is one that I legitimately have seen proof based on actions of certain teams or whatever. But it's like so hard to actually narrow it down. I've had pro players in my DMs all the time being like, yeah, I know for sure that players stream snipe, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Collusion is another one of them too. But stream sniping to me is just like, dude, it's
There's a
crazy.
double standard on it too that pisses me off, because you know, the most prolific stream sniping thing, like at least in EU, the whole you know, Benji Mongrel and you know, DJ rolling with it, but like no one got anything, which still confuses me to this day. But
the most prolific one in public eye, right?
Yeah, in the public eye, like from what we know.
Or wasn't Aqua getting banned probably the most prolific one?
Oh, because because
actually, no, because he didn't
get banned for that. He got banned
more
for
like the Twitter talk and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough then. No, but he got a warning for that, right? You did get a warning for the stream sniping. Am I bugging?
Yeah, but the thing was, like, the thing that was why it was the most prolific for me is that no one got anything. That was hard video evidence.
There was no
on the top players, and there were other players who had less evidence than that getting punished for sniping. But for some reason, you know, those three are untouchable, which is a scary thought. Like, what the heck? I don't know.
The one time that it happened for them, who knows what they're actually like going on. I actually think that there's some players who are just above it all and literally are so like they treat competitive integrity and it really, really like important to them as one of their values. And I think that some of those guys are at that point. Like genuine mistakes sometimes teach you, you know, to hold certain things to certain values. So I don't know.
And that's not, but that I think is why like the big issue with it is in Fortnite is that like a lot of the time it comes across as harmless. It's not the the dark shit we're talking about. It's just like, oh yeah, like it's just like there's not that malicious intent behind it necessarily. There might be like a bit of a twisted sort of like, oh, we can get advantage, but it's not like the dark shit that you really associate the shit with a lot of the time, which makes it hard to understand in the public eye a lot of the time. So
yeah, still many more weeks of off season, so to speak, left. All-Stars, I think we have one more week beforehand. Next week we're gonna be doing global power rankings, which should be a lot of fun.
Trios global power rankings is gonna be fucking lit. Pit EU versus NA East, Brazil in the mix, NA West in the mix,
Asia,
OCE.
Middle
no,
East.
Asia, no, none of those. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Jesus.
All right. Still, my face actually just died. I'm dying from exhaustion. Other than that,
you've been up since what?
Like yesterday.
Oh no.
Yesterday afternoon.
Oh no.
Or yesterday morning.
Like yesterday, like morning, because I had to wake up for, what did I have to wake up for yesterday? I don't remember anything anymore.
FNTASIA.
So, like,
you had to.
I think it was for we woke up for FNTASIA for the episode that didn't record.
It's a stinker. No, it did record. It did record. It did record.
Did record, yeah, but had like a glitch, and I had glitches and issues, and then rolled in today, and it was like 10, and I'm like, I made a mistake because I should have been asleep at 8, but I wanted to scrim, and I'm like, I'm gonna just stay up, man. And then yeah, here we are. But yeah, still, if you made it this far in the comments, I want you to type in solos, because I think that would help the algorithm as well. I don't know what the algorithm is or how it works, but I'm just shooting a shot in the dark, and we'll see how it goes.
You want me to explain how the algorithm works?
All-Star.
How does
You
the
get-
algorithm work?
Okay, so the real way to do this is you're trying to actually make the people who are watching get an impulse that they actually want to do, right? They actually want to say hey, if you're listening still, type who you think the top 3 trios are in global power rankings, something like that, where they're actually like, they think about it, put it in, they want to get your opinion on it. Like, I'll comment, I'll respond to some of my favorite ones, and then the whole entire idea is definitely just to get people to comment so that the engagement gets up, right? So it's like, oh my god, people are commenting on this video, they're talking about it, and then it gets shown, right? So you can get them to type anything, but if it's actually something that's gonna be different and you get more people involved,
you got to do both though.
there you go.
All right.
You got to
This
do
is what I
both
want.
because
I want everyone
the
in the
drones won't
comments.
do that. You know what I mean? Like the drones won't like listen to your comment out who you think da. So like you need the one for the
we dumb it
intellects and then the
down?
one for the drones.
You want it to be in the middle, bro. You just like, hey,
No,
comment.
Watch this. Watch this.
Okay,
Watch this.
okay.
Watch this. I got this. In the comments, I want you guys to count from 1 to 1,000 separately. Okay, so someone start at 1 and then go from 2 all the way to 1,000. Think carefully about what number to put down, because if it doubles up, we're what are we gonna do? What's the punishment?
Double up. 1 hour episode next week.
On a global if it doubles up, Levin can never wear branded clothing on camera again. So make sure it doesn't double up.
You're gonna have to come down to London and enforce that. That's not happening.
As they say in London, as the episode closes. Oh, is it raining out here, chaps?
Oh,
Bye-bye.